Chapter 5681. Before he left, Mieshing had turned into the temple of Mishi. If there is really no worries about Mieshing, why should I enter the temple of Mishi? Why not go directly to the temple of Chishin? I am afraid he also has some kind of flaw. Is like real spirit. The true spirit has a sea of origin, which can keep alive all the time, plus he helps the true spirit restore the body of the when he leaves. Just the vitality of the flesh took him a long time. If he is really an expert in the 7 tribulations realm, he will probably spend countless epochs. That is not comparable to a 6 tribulations realm. An 8 tribulations realm with a severe loss of life. Jian Wushuang was speechless. For a while, in a trance, it was time for the banquet to disperse. It's very midnight. Looked up, the stars in the sky were shining brightly. These bright lights that can be seen with the naked eye are not stars, but universes. Each universe represents a cosmic master of the 3 tribulations realm. In this starry sky, Jian Wushuang saw several dazzling universes, which were extremely huge. Should be some universe of 7 tribulations realm. As for the master of the universe in the 8 tribulations realm, Guyu time and space should still exist, but they couldn't see it at all. Those old guys are able to collect the universe into the body, or hide in the turbulence of time and space. Outsiders can't find it at all. Wu Li and Jian Wushuang panted their hands, standing in another courtyard of the Muangfu, waiting for Mu Chen. Brother Wushuang, are you thinking about something? Wu Li looked at Jian Wushuang and stared at the sky in a daze. Jian Wushuang shook his head and said, "It's nothing, just thinking, if these universes are formed, will they become the shackles of the tribulation realm?" My brother has a lot of thoughts, but there are also some truths. The universe was born above the ancient wood continent and cannot be moved unless it becomes the 8 tribulations realm. Wu Li also raised his head and looked at the starry sky, and he could see his universe at a glance. Then he said, "I thought about it before, but now that it is true, how can there be such a great ambition to reach the 5 tribulations realm in my life? I will be satisfied." The stronger the strength, the more clearly he can see his future. Wu Li, a half-step 4 tribulations realm of the universe, is actually quite good to be able to break through the 4 tribulations realm. Since he mastered the universe, Wu Li has deposited countless epochs, and it hasn't been long before the next triumph. Now his strength and background, there is nothing to worry about. But after becoming the 4 tribulations, he should be anxious. In fact, with his current combat power, he can cross the tribulation earlier, mainly because once he successfully crosses the tribulation, when he reaches the 4th tribulation realm, he has no certainty to cross the 5th tribulation. Instead of breaking through early, it is better to accumulate the foundation first. At least when he encounters the 5th calamity realm, he goes to the 4th calamity. Many peaks of the 3 tribulations realm think so. But in the end, the forced crossing of the tribulation has become the 4 tribulation realm. There is no chance in front of him, and I can only wait anxiously. In the end, he is depressed and specializes in sand tribulation. Jian Wushuang sighed in his heart. He was nothing. Mastering the universe will not be in Guyu time and space, but will condense the universe in one's own body. This is the benefit of Jidao. Will not be bound by this world. But it was not so easy for the other people who came to Guyu time and space with him. After becoming the tribulation realm, there is a high probability that it will take root in the ancient moon time and space. Even if it returns to the time and space of the primitive universe, it will eventually return to the ancient moon time and space. Is rooted, it is the person of Guyu time and space. Jian Wushuang shook his head, not thinking about it anymore. At the moment, getting the quota first is the key, and there is not much time left for them. The holy meeting is 10 years later. This is the news that Wu Li just got. Sweet. The door of the small courtyard was pushed open, and the person here was Elder Mu Chen. It's just that the current Elder Mu Chen changed his spirit in the hall, but he was a little late. "Brother Muken." "Elder Mu Chen." The two hurried forward to greet. Elder Muken waved his hand and said casually, "There are no outsiders here, don't have to see outside, sit down and talk." The 3 people were sitting in a pavilion. Wu Li was also very winking. He took out a teapot and poured a cup for Mu Chen and Jian Wushuang. "Ahem." Elder Mu Chen was also polite, and took a sip from his teacup. Jian Wushuang and Wu Li were waiting for Elder Mu Chen to speak. I drank the tea and everyone was there. Elder Muchen shook his sleeves and went straight to the subject. Since I'm all my own, I won't hide it from the two of you. This time I'm really helpless in recruiting my son-in-law. Next, under the narration of Elder Mu Chen, Jian Wushuang and Wu Li were amazed. It turned out that the eldest princess Jin Chen lived with her grandfather in Shurgwa since she was a child, and she returned to Yu country after she became an immortal fairy. In the ordinary time, he had a baby kiss with a Shurguo Xianjiu. But with the rise of the empress, the future emperor is likely to belong to Princess Jin Chen, and the marriage was also stranded. If it were to be that simple, there would not be so many bad times in the future. The Shurgwa Tianjiao is not an ordinary person, but a child of the Shurwang clan. Although he is not a direct child, where is the background? The son of the king of Shur is in the family. If this matter spreads out, where will Shurgua's face be placed? But these two are not giving up. The Tianjiao even chased the country from Shurgwa to the country of Yu, and is now in the palace. And the other party also released ruthless words, "It's okay to divorce. But I have to give him an explanation, unless the emperor who married the eldest princess can defeat him, otherwise he will not agree to this marriage." Jian Wushuang frowned when he heard this and said, "He is very persistent. It's a pity that the Yu kings beat the Mandarin ducks. Whether it is for the face of Shurgwa or for the imperial power of the Yu royal family, it is impossible for the eldest princess to marry each other. Helplessly, the two are also childhood sweethearts, and it is not so easy to force them apart." Yu reading www.Akanshu. Sin, isn't it? Elder Mu Chen shook his head and said, "This is also to blame for your majesty today. She had to send that little girl to Shurgwa for training. Now she is so big, but she doesn't understand the royal family's efforts. A son of the Stone King family, and a direct son of the Yu King family. I really need to talk about background and strength, but in fact, the two are very close. But if it's a superfluous, it won't work. Yu Kingdom is afraid of introducing wolves into the house. Shur Kingdom is afraid of embarrassment. The latter is okay and can be overcome. The former is absolutely impossible. No matter what, the children of the Stone King clan cannot be admitted. This is a major event threatening imperial power. Elder, there is something I need to do, just say it." Jian Wushuang probably understood what the other party meant. Wu Li also stared at Mu Chen. In fact, the matter is very simple. Just defeat the Shurguo Xianjiu and let the other party give up. Wu Li was overjoyed when he heard this. This is too simple. But where did Mu Chen know the true strength of Jian Wushuang? He is still very worried now, but he can't say anything about attacking Jian Wushuang. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5682. The Tianjiao of Shur Kingdom, named Shurjiu, is very strong. Mu Chen worried. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly, so that Elder Mu Chen could say that he was strong, and that really required him to take it seriously. But Wu Li is more confident than Jian Wushuang. He patted his chest and said, "Brother Mu Chen, don't worry, since I'm all myself, I'll just say it. My nephew can't get along in Outland, but he definitely has the strength. You too, have you ever heard of the fifth master of the Shur family?" Mu Chen didn't answer Wu Li's words, but spoke of a prominent figure in the Yu country. Wu Li heard it, pondered for a moment, and then surprised, "You mean Shurxiu of the Stone Royal family?" "Yes, it's him." Mu Chen nodded and said, "That Shurgwa Tianjiao is his grandson." Wu Li also frowned this time and said, "His grandson, why haven't I heard of it? I also just learned that he has an illegitimate child, and that illegitimate child is Shurjiu's father. This matter is rarely known to me, and a friend of mine told me." Mu Chen shook his head and sighed. If it wasn't for the royal family who needed to recruit his son-in-law, he would really like that Shurgwa Tianjiao. That is Shurxiu's grandson. Ishahide is a real figure in Shurgwa and the backbone of the contemporary Stone King family. The reason why the Stone Kingdom was able to overpower the 16 kingdoms in this era, even comparable to the 8-star sect of the ancient Wood School, is that there is such a ZTE figure. Half-step the master of the universe in the Seven Tribulations realm. In the future, Gumu continent has the most hope to be promoted to the master of the universe of Seven Tribulations. Seeing Wu Li's expression, Elder Mu Chen picked up the teacup and took a sip, thinking it was frightening Wu Li. The news really scared Wu Li, and he directly transmitted the sound to Jian Wushuang in private. I will go to the palace later, do something sharp, his background is too big, we can't afford to offend it. If this is heard by Elder Mu Chen, I'm afraid he will drop his jaw. That is Shi Xiu's grandson. Although Shi Xiu has many grandchildren, he still has the blood of Shi Xiu, a half-step Seven Tribulations realm powerhouse, so how weak can it be? Jian Wushuang thought Wu Li was too dear to him. Under normal circumstances, he does not use the power of the beast god, and he may be hanged by the opponent. The true supernatural power of the eldest princess, he has learned, has a supernatural power of 130,000. Shigua Tianjiao, who made the eldest princess so desperate, the other party's divine power, I am afraid it will be around 150,000. He used twice the power of the beast to be able to crush the opponent. To defeat, you need 3 times the power of the beast god. In the temple of Qishan, the only person who can allow him to display so much power is probably only the robbery. An emperor is so strong. Your country does not allow such a powerful emperor. How about it, are you sure? Elder Mu Chen said straight away, Jian Wushuang, you can tell me whether the 130,000 supernatural power can reach it. Jian Wushuang also understood Mu Chen's thoughts, and immediately got up. The power of the beast on his body immediately exploded. His basic divine power has changed from white arrogance to dark red, and his divine power has soared from less than 100,000 to 130,000. Exercising the power of the beast god, now he can make his divine power reach 130,000. 2 times is 160,000. The triple limit can reach 200,000. Is also the peak of his current normalcy. If you use the power of the starry sky to perform eternal transformation, then it is not divine power that can be converted. After all, he is a time-space practitioner, and now he has been recognized by time. If the eternal change is carried out, it will arouse suspicion by outsiders. It's better not to display it, or not to display it. The pinnacle of his supernatural power is enough for the emperor. The peak reaches the peak of the 3 tribulations realm with regular combat power. In the entire Guyu time and space, the great priest Wu Li said had the power of the lord of the 3 tribulations realm universe. As long as his luck is not too bad, he will not meet such a perverted emperor. After feeling that Jian Wushuang's supernatural power exceeded 130,000, Mu Chen nodded in satisfaction, not too surprised. It must be a bit of strength for Wu Li to take out such a valuable treasure, otherwise the treasure would be given away for nothing. My nephew, I can rest assured that you have this strength, but there are some things I said before. Now I have prepared 3 people in the palace. These 3 have nothing to do with Jinchen regardless of whether they win or lose. You can rest assured, but I am right. The 3 of them don't have much confidence, and the main thing is to look at you. Mu Chen gave them a clear picture this time. Wu Li chuckled and said, they are all my own nephews, we will be in-laws soon. Things were set, and the 3 of them didn't stay longer, and left the Muangfu directly to the palace. Yu Kingdom, Imperial Palace, is up to the top of Yunding in the royal city. Ordinary people can't see the appearance of the palace at all. Jian Wushuang also followed Mu Chen's lead to reach the front gate of the palace, otherwise he wouldn't even be able to find the gate. No wonder he didn't feel the powerhouse in the palace when he entered the royal city. Now that I get outside, I can feel a faint pressure. Great luck, Lord. The guards guarding the door are all experts in the robbery realm. What a style. Under the guidance of the guards, Jian Wushuang and others entered the palace. After entering, Jian Wushuang understood what the robbery realm force was. What you see here is the appearance of the time when Moro was at the peak of time and space. The Temple of Qi is said to be the Morwa time and space in the ancient times of the Inheritor, but it is still far behind compared to here. East Palace, Prince's Mansion. Snapped. Dongsheng Hall. The eldest princess Jinchen regained his original appearance, and it was the young girl Jian Wushuang saw. At this time, The eldest princess, in front of the empress, smashed the Optimus Prime in the hall with a palm. I won't marry anyone except him. Princess Jinshin's temper came up, and no one could stop it. The female emperor Fengchen frowned, stared at Jinshin, and exclaimed, You want marry? If you don't marry, even if I sit on the throne, I won't marry. The figure of the empress came to Princess Jinshin instantly, and she slapped her hand because the words just touched her bottom line. The sound is very crisp. Princess Jinshin was stunned. She raised her head and stared at the eyes that were very similar to the Empress Fengchen. They were very watery and still filled with tears. You hit me. Jinshin couldn't believe it. Her mother, although she is very cold to the outside world, she has never been like this to her. Empress Fengchen coldly shouted, Aren't you sitting on the throne? She wanted to laugh out loud. You kingdom's throne, I don't know how many people are staring at it. As long as he sits on the throne, the royal family will tilt resources. Now the potential of the princess will soon be able to reach the three tribulations realm and master the universe. In the later stage, countless resources are needed. This resource is only produced by the royal family in the U country. Even if it is produced, it depends on the person. Becoming the emperor of the U kingdom naturally has that qualification. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5683 became the female emperor, which means that you can become a powerful person in the four tribulation realm from the start. Sit 4 and look at 5. This is a dream that many people can't ask for. Why doesn't she understand it? In this world, how can there be so many emotions? Once the strength can't keep up with the other party, it will be cast aside. This is the eternal truth. When the time comes, one party will become Sanjie, and the other party will be the energetic master of the universe, and it will be too late to regret. Looking at his mother's cold eyes, Jinshin didn't dare to talk back. This matter is beyond your control, but I can also give you a guarantee that after you achieve the throne and become the four tribulations realm, I will no longer care about you. These words gave Jinshin a hope and an excuse. Jinshin is also very smart, and soon understood his mother's intentions. She can marry someone she doesn't like, and of course she can also have a different room. Even after becoming the four tribulations realm, she can still go to her brother Sergio. But even so, she was still a little reluctant. When will it wait? She is now an emperor, and there is still a way to go before the tribulation realm. After breaking through the tribulation realm, it can quickly become the three tribulation realm, but the four tribulation realm is not so easy. Brother Sergio, can you wait for me? Jinshin muttered silently in his heart. At this time, Jian Wushuang and the others just arrived outside the hall and saw two other people waiting here. These two are the old and the young. The strength of the old man Jian Wushuang couldn't see through it. It should be stronger than Wu Li, but it's not that strong. There is little vitality. It should not be the Lord of the universe, but the realm of dispersal. The young man standing next to him is bold and strong. His face is determined, his hair is tied, and his crown is meticulous. It seems that this person is that Shirgua Tianjiao, Sergio Lai. Just when the three of them stood firm, another three arrived. Are all emperors? It should be the three emperors arranged by Elder Mu Chen. Are all the god-defying emperors from other countries? This kind of thing can actually be solved with a little money. It's just that the royal family is not too exaggerated because of its face. As for those in Vietnam, they were all dissuaded from leaving. There are also more than 100,000 times, but the difference in strength is too much. Calculated like this time the four people who challenge Shirgua Tianjiao, each of them are from Vietnam, and it is ironic enough to say it. Fortunately, Wu Li had the foresight, and he arranged Jian Wushuang to appear in the Azure Cloud sect early, and he was under the door of Elder Mu Chen. Now he is considered a Vietnamese. Prince Mu. The three emperors were very polite when they saw Elder Mu Chen. After all, Elder Mu Chen invited him. It's just that there are outsiders at this time. Mu Chen didn't say much, just nodded lightly. The three of them glanced at Jian Wushuang first, and did not notice anything surprising, so they ignored it, but looked at Sergio himself. This is the enemy. Your Majesty, summon everyone, come with me. After a while, a feminine old man with a black robe and top hat walked out of the hall and summoned everyone to enter. After entering the Dongsheng Palace, he saw the Empress, but did not see the figure of Princess Jinshin. At this time, Princess Jinshin stood behind the screen and could clearly see the scene in the hall, but everyone in the hall could not feel the presence of the princess. Sergio looked around, but he didn't find his sweetheart, a little uneasy. He was not afraid of the emperors of the Yu Kingdom, but he was afraid that Jin Chen would be threatened by others. Weak thought power came. Sergio received Jin Chen's voice transmission, his breath stabilized, and at the same time, he silently read the voice transmission in his heart. Don't worry, I won't let you wait. Princess Jinshin didn't want Sergio to spell out her own thoughts. As long as she reached the Four Tribulations realm, no one could stop her, but Sergio was very confident. Among the emperors, he was not afraid of anyone. In Shurgua, there are still a few talents who can threaten him, but in Yuegua, the emperor is invincible. This is not madness, but fact. If it weren't for Jian Wushuang's sudden arrival, even if you turned Yuegua over again, you wouldn't be able to find an emperor who could rival Sergio. Stone family boy, don't say that the more I am not tolerate you. If you defeat my Yuegua Tinjiao today, I won't worry about the two of you. The Empress said directly. Elder Mukin had already told all about Jian Wushuang. At this time, the Empress also had some confidence. Your Majesty said Jioding, Sergio is willing to fight. Sergio stepped out and stood in the center of the hall, his eyes sharpened. Who will come first? He looked at the four of them and his breath kept rising. Jian Wushuang was about to step forward, but was stopped by Wu Li. Let those three go first. Mu Chen has already paid for it, so I can't make them so easy. Wu Li Chuanin said. Mukin also meant this, and wanted these three to go and try each other's details. The strength of the three of them is similar. They came here to do this. They didn't hesitate, and they walked out one person at the moment. I learned it. The man was dressed in rugged armor, his voice just fell, and the same breath broke out. The supernatural power soared directly to 130,000. Has reached the pinnacle of the One Tribulation realm. Sergio looked sideways. He had never heard of the person in front of him, but he was not a mediocre person who could explode with a power of 130,000. He also exploded with a supernatural power of 130,000. Jian Wushuang stared at the two of them, as he could feel that Sergio did not exert all his strength, but the emperor who was recruited by Elder Mu Chen had already reached the peak. And the vitality of this emperor is a bit weak for some reason. Should be much older than these people. Princess Jinshin, and the Tianjiao named Sergio, should have been born in less than 1,000 years. 1,000 era, in Guyue time and space, that was quite a short period of time, especially for those in the tribulation realm. Is a time of retreat. In the long river of ancient time and space, such as Guyue time and space, the long time is calculated by the era. For example, the age of the gods at the peak of the ancient wood continent www. Novel. The flame gods in the stone country, the top 8 tribulations realm, are famous throughout the ancient moon time and space. The characters who can create an era are generally the masters of the universe in the 8 tribulations realm. The age of the flame has not long passed. The peak of the current era has not yet come, and everyone has a chance. Let's do it. Sergio stretched out a hand and waved it casually, and silver scales appeared on his body. The two of them are wrong and they shoot each. Was just a face-to-face, and that Emperor Jiao Jun could feel the horror of Sergio, and if he was dealt face-to-face with the punch just now, he might be seriously injured. But he could feel that Sergio didn't show any more supernatural powers. It is clearly 130,000 supernatural powers. Why is the gap so big? Jian Wushuang was also amazed. This was the first time he had seen Guyue time and space's Emperor Tianjiao fight against him. He found an amazing gap. In the case of the same rank and the same combat strength, experience is more important. Although Sergio raised his divine power to the same state as the opponent, he was still able to easily defeat his opponent. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5684. Mangjia Emperor shot again, raising his aura to the extreme, continuously attacking, and the divine power of each punch can reach 130,000 divine power. Kept pushing Sergio back. Every one of his moves can hit Sergio. The frenzied attack of a few breaths of time has reduced the aura of Emperor Mangjia. Sergio, who has been passively beaten, has nothing to do. It's me. Sergio raised the corner of his mouth, flashed, and instantly arrived in front of Emperor Mangjia. His hands suddenly changed, but he lifted his foot and mentioned Emperor Mangjia's face fiercely. Just a kick, the Emperor Mangjia stepped back directly, his head was not covered by Mang armor, and the divine body was directly cracked. He couldn't believe it. With the same supernatural power, he didn't hurt his opponent even if he attacked. In the end, he was only repelled by the opponent's move, and he was also injured. This is impossible, unacceptable. He wiped the blood that overflowed from the corner of his mouth, once again raised his breath to the peak, his hands were sealed, and he madly shot out a group of divine power condensed air, bursting out an incomparably astonishing breath. Jian Wushuang saw this and shook his head slightly. Divine power is the mainstay. One of the downsides is that it consumes too much. Although the power is violent, but if you continue like this, you may be exhausted before defeating the opponent. Emperor Mangjia really played a role in his madness. Sergio gradually couldn't bear it, and there was a slight drop in his divine power. But Mangjia Emperor is not much better, his divine power has dropped to 120,000. Fell down again, and the attack launch did not pose any threat to Sergio. Sergio resisted the impact of countless air waves, with his arms in front of him, stepped back slightly, and broke out again in the next moment. His whole body aura suddenly changed, directly resisting the impact of the air wave, and forcibly rushed up. The Emperor Mangjia, who was completely in the offensive, did not expect Sergio to be able to rush over. Isn't there a saying that the best defense is offense? Why doesn't it work anymore? Sergio rushed in front of the opponent in an instant, struck out with a punch, and the entire fist was sunken directly into the chest of Emperor Mangjia. Even the Mang armor appeared some fragmentation. That is the treasure of the universe. The treasures of the universe, there was a slight crack, not to mention the divine body of Emperor Mangjia. Now it has been completely broken. The supernatural power fell from 120,000 to less than 50,000. Almost fell asleep. Originally, the Imperial Emperor wanted to use the injury for injury, but he didn't expect to be defeated so easily. The remaining two looked at each other, and suddenly lost a trace of confidence in their hearts. Originally, the two were still thinking about a will fight, and if the first one is not good, then the second one. This will continue to wear down the opponent's supernatural power. But looking at it now, Sergio's divine power hasn't changed in any way, and even his aura hasn't changed. It's still so stable. It's as easy as just taking a sip of tea. Emperor Mangjia got up with difficulty, and said tremblingly, "I lost." After speaking, he withdrew to the side, while Elder Muchen was pale. He never thought that Sergio could be so strong. Princess Jinshan's strength is more than 130,000. Even if the divine power is not average, plus some secret techniques, it is one level stronger than these three. But the combat power displayed by Sergio was at least several levels stronger than these three emperors. Empress Fengchen, as the strongest person present, the Lord of the Universe in the Five Tribulations realm, saw the most thorough. This time I am afraid I will lose. Also hesitated in my heart. If you lose, how can you save it? Sergio moved his wrist, and he seemed not satisfied with the punch he just made. He stared at the few remaining people and said, "Why don't you go together? This is too provocative. They are all Tianjiao, how can they be together? That's too shameless." Elder Muchen was thick-skinned and said directly, "If this is the case, let's go together. Young people like to challenge the limit." After speaking, he winked at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang has not moved at all. Then Elder Muchen looked at Wu Li again. Wu Li had some headaches, and he spoke privately, "Brother Muchen, my nephew is relatively young. You know the young man. You take faith seriously, but don't worry, no matter how strong your opponent is this time. I have absolute confidence in him." Said that, and Muchen didn't insist. The remaining two emperors nodded to each other, took the money to do business and couldn't care about the face, so they could only bite the bullet and go together. This time, the two of them are fully prepared, and Mu Qin has made a promise. As long as he hurts the stone, it is a great achievement, and the previously promised treasure can also be added by 50%. Why are you two left? Shi Jiao's gaze shifted from the two to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang also looked at each other, only a slight smile leaked, and he nodded lightly. There was an electric arc across Shi Jia's eyes, and he could feel Jian Wushuang's extraordinary, definitely much better than the two in front of him. But his strength is not so. Even if Jian Wushuang has a whole card, he also has a stronger whole card. He is Shi Xiu's grandson, not only has a strong bloodline, but also has powerful treasures. Because his father was an illegitimate child, he suffered a lot from snacks, and later because of the fall of his enemy, Shi Xiu felt that he owed that son, so he made up for everything to the grandson. Shi Jiao did not live up to that Shi Jia contemporary best, and he is the super powerhouse of Zhongxing Shigua. Yue has also become one of the most outstanding emperors of Shi Jia contemporary, and he has always preserved his strength, and has always been concealed. This is related to his early experience. Before his father fell, he had asked him to hide his strongest whole cards at any time, and only the unused methods were called whole cards. Once it is displayed, the opponent will fall. Only in this way can it become the whole card forever. It's a pity that he would have the wrong meaning. At the beginning, it was as moisturized as it is now. You don't need a whole card. The more you show yourself, the more you can get attention and get more treasures. Shi Jiao, don't be arrogant. The two Emperor Tianjiao shot together, only to find that Shi Jiao didn't put them in his eyes at all. He was particularly annoyed for a while, and he burned the divine body when he came up. Elder Mukin has made a promise to them. All the treasures consumed during the fight will be counted on him, even if he goes to fight. The two were also not stingy, and directly burned 30% of the divine body, reaching the limit. The divine power exploded directly to 136,000 times. This is the pinnacle of the one tribulation realm. The peak of the second tribulation realm is about 180,000. The normal divine power of the three tribulations realm is around 200,000. Shi Jiao condensed with one hand and suddenly made a fist. When he stretched out his palm, there was already a cloud of purple thunder in his palm. His divine power has not changed, but the ball of thunder in his palm has exploded with more than 140,000 divine power. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5685. This is. The two Emperor Tianjiao's expressions were shocked, and before they were the same, Thunder Wanjun burst in front of them. Shi Jia's eyes burst into thunder. Just a glance, thunder descended like a waterfall, swallowing the two of them. Even the Empress was a little moved in this scene. The trace of power just now seemed to have exceeded her expectations of the Emperor. Is there really such a powerful Emperor in the world? Mukin is even more ashamed. This is a little different from the news he got. How could the opponent be so strong? The two emperors were wrapped in thunder and couldn't get out at all. They were already trapped to death. How can he be so strong? Both of them couldn't believe it. This thunder cage had already exploded with a supernatural power of 150,000. Can't be defeated by the two of them at all. Shi Jiao is a leisurely manipulation of the thunder cage. He only needs to shake hands to easily defeat the two. Jian Wushuang shook his head and didn't want to look anymore. Instead of wasting time here, he might as well shoot early. Among those present, apart from Wu Li, I am afraid that no one is optimistic about Jian Wushuang. Even the Empress Fengchen felt hopeless. Elder Mukin sighed even more. Brother Wu Li, this time my information is wrong. Blame me. He already thought that Jian Wushuang had no hope. Brother Mu Chen, the universe is uncertain, there may not be no chance. Wu Li was very confident. Elder Mu Chen who had been suspicious. He looked at Jian Wushuang with solemn eyes. Why is Wu Li so confident? Is this Jian Wushuang Wu Li's illegitimate child? The more he looked, the more he felt that they looked alike. But since they all said so, he can only believe Wu Li's words, and the two people in the thunder cage gave up directly. Those two also felt hopeless, and they were not prepared to persist. But I was a little unhappy to hear that Mu Chen had to deduct treasures. Mr. Mu, my brothers have another trick, which can definitely hurt each other badly, but the price is a bit high. Mukin didn't believe it, but he nodded in agreement. He is out at all costs. It is best to be severely injured. Princess Jinchen behind the screen was excited to watch. She did not expect Shurjio's strength to be so powerful, and she could easily defeat these three emperors. In the end, these two erupted out of 136,000 times the divine power. Although it is not as good as her, if she joins forces, let alone defeated, I am afraid it will be difficult to suppress. Thinking of this, she understood a little bit. Maybe Shurjio didn't seem to hit her, so she has always retained her strength. She is a very strong person, which is very similar to the Empress. Shurjio indeed has been hiding something from Jinchen for this reason. Of course, what his father told him is more important. Give up, it doesn't make sense anymore. Shurjio manipulated the cage with his palm, exerting a slight force, and the two in the thunder cage almost knelt down. Can't bear it at all. Thanks, Tusk, you are indeed very powerful. You are obviously just the same divine power, not even as powerful as the two of us, but you can perform such a powerful trick. I admit that I can't beat you this time. The two of them stared at Shurjio, and they really wanted to give up. But it will also make the other party so relaxed. But don't think about it too much. As soon as the voice fell, Shurjio's eyes shrank, and he felt a threat in an instant. As soon as his palm was hard, he wanted to directly defeat the two. But it's too late. The thunder cage was instantly dissolved by a black air, and the black mist came straight to his face. At the moment the black mist appeared, the Empress stood up directly from the throne. Her eyes were as deep as the starry sky, staring at the black mist. Her eyes were full of fear. That black mist, she has seen and heard of it. This is a force that does not belong to this era. How can it appear here? Others can't see the specialness of black mist at all. Even Jian Wushuang just felt that the power of the black mist had swallowed it, and there was nothing special about it. But after dissolving the thunder cage, when he raided Shurjio's body, the familiar breath made the sword faceless and shocked. The power of death. That is extremely powerful death power. When Shurjio was contaminated, he swallowed most of Shurjio's vitality in an instant. Shurjio's divine power also fell instantly. Fortunately, the power of death does not belong to the two emperors, and is constantly weakening. Otherwise, this is enough to kill Shurjio directly. The threat this time was something Shurjio had never felt before. It was terrifying. If the Sanjia realm encounters a group of black fog, I am afraid that it will leave a curse, and it will be impossible to regain its vitality in a lifetime. Fortunately, Shurjio is only an emperor. Even so, the black mist dissolved half of his body, leaving only bones. The same is true on the face. The horrified bones are leaking to the outside world. Jinchen saw this scene extremely distressed, almost rushed out, but fortunately was stopped by the Empress. The Empress was also prepared to stop her, but when she thought of Jian Wushuang losing again, she really couldn't stop her. Finally endured it. He really can't resist it, so he will shoot now. The two emperors took the opportunity to shoot again. Shurjio now is the most weak, unable to stop the two at all. Even if the current two emperors are weaker, they can't stop them at all. Jian Wushuang couldn't stand it anymore, hitting two with one, and still resorting to such despicable means. Also, the appearance of the power of death made him vigilant. Mukin was very excited. The battle turned around. Shurjio is now as fragile as a piece of white paper. Maybe he won't need Jian Wushuang to make a move. Look at the battle, it is indeed the case. Shurjio's supernatural power has fallen below 100,000. Jian Wushuang doesn't think so. Although the divine power has fallen, but the divine body is not broken at all. The source of divine power can be restored instantly. Shurjio took out a piece of uncut jade from the mustard seeds and crushed it in a hand. After that, the missing body instantly grew out of his body, and his divine power began to surge and recover. Death to me. Shurjio had killing intent in his eyes, and directly attacked the killer. his divine power directly skyrocketed to 150,000, and he beat the two in an instant with one punch. And again, a thunder was condensed in the palm of the hand. This thunder was not a cage, but a sharp blade, which passed directly through the two people's chests. Mukin shot directly at this time, and said, "Keep these two people alive. Is just a competition, not a killer, this is stipulated in advance." Sergio heard Mu Chen's words, not only did not stop, but instead swung a knife with one hand, wanting to solve the two directly. He almost died in the hands of these two people just now, and if he hadn't had a backhand, I'm afraid these two people would kill him if they didn't kill him. Mu Chen saw that Sergio was still going to make a move, and immediately dashed in front of the opponent. With a powerful force of power, he directly separated the three of them forcibly. The two emperors were thrown away like dead dogs and fell to the ground, unable to move at all. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5686. Empress eased her emotions at this time, and transmitted the sound to Mu Chen. The two of them couldn't let go. They had to figure out the origin of the black mist just now. Although Mukin didn't understand, but the Empress said it all, it shows that things are not simple. Did not ask much. Sergio is a little angry. And Sergio's Four Tribulations realm powerhouse also opened his eyes at this time. Instead of looking at Mu Chen, he looked at the female emperor of Yu Kingdom. Although he didn't speak, he let out a cold snort, but the hall was shaking. "Senior Shirhan, it was indeed rude just now." The Empress nodded slightly, apologizing. This Shirhan is a man of the Shir Kingdom in the last era. There was the power of the peak of the Four Tribulation realm back then, but it was a pity that it failed to cross the tribulation, and now that it became the scattering tribulation realm, the voice has become the power of the ordinary Four Tribulation realm. But even so, he would make a move just now, but he was stopped by Sergio. If he makes a move, the Empress will definitely take the opportunity to drive him away. For Jinchen, he resisted a lot. "Your Majesty Feng, don't forget he is the grandson of the fifth master, and he keeps the blood of my Shir family." Shirhan's voice was loud. "This is not a big flag. Today's ancient Wood continent, the Shir family is a pivotal existence. Besides, there are flame gods in the Stone Country, which can stabilize the existence of the Wood King. A small Yu country actually deceived the Shir family so much. If it weren't for Sergio's infatuation, he would have liked to shake the matter out and let Yu Guo know how terrible Sergio looked after his anger. Senior Shirhan, don't say anything. I, Sergio, can come here with determination." Sergio panted, first was injured by the force of death, and then was shaken out by Mu Chen. Due to internal injuries, the divine body is a little unstable. Now his strength has dropped a lot. But it has little effect. Now Jian Wushuang is left. As long as he defeats Jian Wushuang, he can marry Jinchen in a fair way, or marry into Yu Kingdom, he is also willing. His grandpa will support him, that's enough. Princess Jinchen behind the screen saw this scene, her eyes full of distress. The female emperor looked a little embarrassed when she heard this. Has she ever been threatened so much? Shijia's anger? The female emperor also has anger in her eyes. If she is in the Seven Tribulations realm, why should she be afraid of the Stone Kingdom? Why are you afraid of others entering Vietnam? What a pity she is not. That's why I have to fight. At this holy meeting, she must get the position of saint. Then he abdicated the emperor of the Yu Kingdom and went to the Gumu sect. With endless resources, she would have no worries about the sixth calamity. After becoming the Sixth Tribulations realm, he prepared for the Seventh Tribulations with all his heart. Is backed by Gumu school, she also has a lot of confidence. If she has been crossing, even with the power of the whole family, she would not have the confidence to reach the seventh calamity. The sixth calamity is already the limit. And it's still unstable, otherwise she would have crossed the sixth calamity early. Mukin didn't pay attention to that Shirhan, but looked at Jian Wushuang and said, "It's all up to you, don't stress, Sergio is already injured, you still have a good chance." Jian Wushuang nodded lightly and took a step forward, already in front of Sergio. When the female emperor looked towards Jian Wushuang, she couldn't quite see it through, but she hoped that Jian Wushuang could defeat the opponent. The eldest princess Jin Chen, who was behind the screen, also stared at Jian Wushuang. She always felt that Jian Wushuang was very similar to the mysterious powerhouse he met in Baihua Mountain, and she was very worried. "You are very strong." Jian Wushuang and Shi faced each other. No one thought that the first sentence Jian Wushuang came up would be Qua Shijio. Shijio leaked a smile and said calmly, "Although I can't see through you, I can feel that you are not the same as the three in front of you. It is indeed different." Jian Wushuang also directly admitted, without any concealment. After finishing speaking, under everyone's surprised eyes, he took out one of the mustard seeds, the fruit of life brought from the temple of Qishan. This is the treasure to increase the divine body, and it is also the treasure to restore the divine body. In the time and space dominated by divine power, it is most suitable for practitioners. Jian Wushuang threw it past without any hesitation. Shijio was taken aback, but still took it. Not only is Shijio, the others also don't understand what Jian Wushuang is doing. The previous Emperor Mangjia, who was easily defeated by Shijio, was even more surprised. What did he want? The female emperor's eyes were constantly flickering, and she couldn't understand Jian Wushuang's intention. "Brother Wu Li, what kind of way is this? Could it be that the fruit is very poisonous?" Mu Chen guessed privately through a voice transmission. Wu Li rolled his eyes and felt that the prince was too embarrassed, so he said directly, "It's nothing, maybe my nephew thinks it's too embarrassing to defeat a wounded emperor." This. Mu Chen was completely stunned. This is too confident. Shijio's previous explosion of divine power has exceeded 150,000, and it was still the explosion when he was injured. Maybe stronger than this, and there are backups. Are you afraid of losing? At this time, he couldn't control so much. He directly reminded Jian Wushuang, "Wushuang sage nephew, you have to think clearly. If anyone marries Jin Chen, he will have a place in the holy meeting." "Brother Mu Chen, this kind of thing is boring to say." Shi Han, who was standing on the edge, sneered at the two of them, but he was a little stunned at Jian Wushuang's actions. Compared with the previous ones, Jian Wushuang is obviously more pleasing to the eye. This idiot Bai Xia just used the whole card. The two emperors who were almost killed by Shijio looked at Jian Wushuang like idiots. Shijio shook the green fruit in his hand, explored his mind force, and found no fault, and said sincerely, "Thank you." Click. Take a bite, and the green juice flows along the corner of the mouth. Formidable vitality and infinite divine power instantly emerged into Shijio's body. Only in an instant he returned to his peak state, was even stronger than before. Shijio clenched his fists, slightly hard, his divine power burst out, and the power of thunder also appeared on his body. 150,000 supernatural power. "How's it going? Is the state restored?" Jian Wushuang asked. Shijio took out 100,000 cubic cosmic crystals from the mustard seeds and thanked him. "I would like to ask fellow Taoists to accept it. Such a precious treasure is a bit of a waste to me." He actually has a treasure for recovery, but the effect is definitely not as good as the fruit of life. It's a fruit, it's not worth mentioning. Jian Wushuang smiled and shook his head, but since the opponent insisted, he accepted it. Avoid the time when the other party is embarrassed to give him all his strength. Elder Mu Chen couldn't help it anymore. He now doubted whether Jian Wushuang had been bought. Just when he was about to exit, he was pulled down by Wu Li. He is also from Yugua. Although he is not a royal family, he also feels that if Mu Chen continues speaking, Yugua will lose his face. Although the Empress was a little puzzled, she still recognized Jian Wushuang's practice. The dispute between gentlemen is upright. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5687. If Jian Wushuang really wins, she is more of the royal family, but she has found the treasure. A quota for a holy meeting can attract such talents. This transaction is not a loss. And when the time comes, it also represents the Yu country, and even more represents the Yu royal family. This is a chance for them to have a long face. The eldest princess behind the screen clenched her fist, ecstatic in her heart. She is now full of confidence in Shijio. "Let's start then." "Go ahead." Both are angry at the same time. Jian Wushuang used the power of the beast god, instantly raising to 130,000. But this is not enough. In order to be safe, he directly used twice the power of the beast god. At this time, his supernatural power reached a terrifying 160,000. This is already the top level in the second tribulation realm. Shijio's eyes flickered. He expected Jian Wushuang to be very powerful, but he didn't expect that at the beginning he burst out with 160,000 supernatural powers. Even if he is proficient in divine power and can easily defeat opponents under the same divine power, Jian Wushuang is not bad. Mukin even beamed his eyes, pulling Wu Li's arm, and said excitedly, "Brother Wu Li, he is his own family, and you actually conceal it from me. Wushuang nephew can actually burst out of 160,000 supernatural power." Jian Wushuang is so powerful, he is more excited than anyone else. The current Jian Wushuang is stronger than Shijio, and it is beyond the supernatural power of 10,000 yuan. The gap is much larger. The three emperors who had been defeated earlier had their jaw dropped even more. Didn't they say that they are all about the same strength? And they also know that it is the Emperor Tianjiao who is not against the sky in Vietnam, otherwise they will not come. How come a super arrogant of 160,000 supernatural power suddenly appeared? There are such arrogances, why are you still looking for them? This is simply a naked humiliation to them. Without self-confidence. Shirhan was also shocked when he saw Jian Wushuang explode with 160,000 supernatural powers. 160,000 supernatural power, this is already comparable to the best batch of Tianjiao in Shigua. However, he is very confident in Shijio. 160,000 is nothing. Shijio's experience of mastering supernatural power in the same rank is the most powerful emperor he has ever seen. Inside the door to see the door, the layman to watch the fun. Although Jin Qin is also a super arrogant among the emperors, but the peak of his divine power can reach about 140,000. At this time, seeing Jian Wushuang's 160,000 divine power, I can't help but feel a little worried. Shijio, as a party, naturally did not dare to be careless. The difference of his 10,000, that is a gap, so it is necessary to use the secret of whole cards again. Ha! Shijio shouted angrily and broke out again. His divine power soared from 150,000 to 160,000, and countless electric arcs appeared on his body. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned, and it hurt suddenly. Is much stronger than he expected. Under the same divine power, he doesn't have much confidence. The other party is the divine power of the major. Although he has double cultivation, he can deal with such a super arrogant who specializes in divine power. He does not have much confidence in his current state. Jian Wushuang took the lead. Using the subtlety of space, he could suppress Shijio in speed. In terms of combat experience, he is not weak against the opponent. Shijio can also clearly feel Jian Wushuang's speed is unusually strange. Was extra careful when he shot, and then moved again after dodge, before daring to stop. Jian Wushuang's speed is more than that. Shijio had just stabilized his figure. He had waited in that position long ago, gathering chi with one hand, and his divine power exploded. A group of dark red light waves directly hit Shijio's back at close range. Shijio felt threatened, and he wanted to escape. Jian Wushuang followed closely, surpassing Shijio's speed by a lot, and appeared directly on top of Shijio's head. With a punch, he smashed the vacated Shijio fiercely. Just collided with that light wave. Boom! Jian Wushuang didn't give the opponent any chance. No matter what opponent he encountered, he didn't like to drag. Crossed his hands, the divine power on his body exploded again, and then suddenly raised his hands, all the divine power on his body exploded. With him as the core position, it exudes a vortex of endless mighty divine power. The female emperor insisted, she pointed it out, and directly arranged the next enchantment to resist the shock of terror. Otherwise this hull will collapse. Rumbling. After the last aftermath of the divine power vortex, only countless smoke and dust remained. Jian Wushuang could feel that the breath below was already weakening. Shijio's figure appeared from the dust. The other people in the hall were shocked to see. Except for Wu Li, I found it incredible. Originally thought that reaching 130,000 is already the peak. I didn't expect to see two super talents with 160,000 supernatural powers today, and the battle was still so fierce in Jiaozuo. In terms of combat experience, the two's methods are no less than the master of the universe. Shi Jiao walked out of the smoke. His silver armor was not in Qingliang, and his hair became a little messy. The breath on his body is constantly rising. How many years have you been? You were the first to defeat me head-on. Shi Jiao's voice trembled a bit, but the aura on his body was constantly breaking through. Quickly recovered to 160,000 supernatural power, and did not stop. 165,000 times, 168,000 times, 169,000 times. 170,000. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly and said, "Your supernatural power should be 180,000. He can feel that Shi Jiao is still hiding. Thanks. Didn't you use your full strength?" Shi Jiao's mouth raised, and the next moment he didn't explode, but made an instant shot. This time Shi Jiao's speed increased a lot. Jian Wushuang had time to dodge in the future, and his frontal punch was like a bolt of thunder, directly hitting his face. As he retreated, Shi Jiao rushed again and directly grabbed his ankle. Shi Jiao tried his best, and directly threw Jian Wushuang out. Followed, Shi Jiao charged up again, elbowing up and down, the blood in the mouth of Jian Wushuang who was hitting up. Yu reading www.com, spirit. Shi Jiao yelled a word, and gathered a wave of extremely powerful divine power with both hands. Yuan. The second word came out, and the divine power contained in the aura rose to a level again. The pure divine power of that wave of air has gathered up to 180,000. Cut! The last word was spit out, and the divine power gathered in Shi Jiao's hands completely exploded. A total of 190,000 supernatural powers, condensed into a mass, rushed towards Jian Wushuang who had lost gravity. When I felt the huge threat, it was too late. Has not stabilized the figure, the huge light wave has already arrived in front of him. Jian Wushuang used both hands to block, but with only 160,000 supernatural power, it was like a praying man's arm as a car. The power of the beast god. Triple. Jian Wushuang directly doubled super, and his divine power instantly soared to 190,000. Has the same supernatural power as Lingyuan Zhan. Was finally blocked while leaning against the barrier. But if this group of huge divine power bursts completely, he will definitely be injured. Chapter 5688. The two sides barely left room, and they erupted directly to the peak. But it can be clearly seen that Shi Jiao's secret method can reach 190,000 divine power, but his own divine power is not so high, and can only maintain the appearance of 170,000. Jian Wushuang is different. And now the peak secret method of hard anti-Shi Jiao, his own divine power has also exploded to 190,000. This is a real 190,000 supernatural power. Already had the combat power of the three tribulations realm. The emperor is so powerful, there are not a few in the entire Gumu continent. Even the upper empress couldn't help but marvel. 190,000 supernatural powers. She didn't expect Shi Jiao to be so powerful, and she didn't expect Jian Wushuang to be so powerful. It seems that no matter how strong Shi Jiao is, Jian Wushuang can stabilize the opponent. This kind of pressure made Shi Jiao a little breathless for a while. The strongest secret method was blocked. This is impossible. Shi Jiao was a little unacceptable. 190,000 supernatural power. Actually couldn't beat Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang held the hot air wave with both hands, and wanted to push back. He doesn't have so many surprises and hesitations now. Shi Jiao's strength is indeed beyond his imagination. 190,000 divine power wave, the other party's secret method is too bad. It is a pity that he has not yet obtained the true core secret, otherwise he would not be so embarrassed. Ming Ming is much stronger than Shi Jiao's divine power, but he is inferior to the opponent's divine power in control. On the basis of the divine body, 20,000 divine powers broke out again. With the supernatural power of 170,000, the supernatural power of 190,000 was still not lost. Even now, the passive is Jian Wushuang himself. Ah! Jian Wushuang tried his best. The beasts and gods ran wildly, and the origin was compressed to the lowest level. His supernatural power has approached 200,000. Get me back! Jian Wushuang yelled angrily, resisting the scorching sensation from his hands, and forcibly pushed Ling Yuanzhan back. With such a powerful divine power, the connection world is trembling. The female emperor had to increase the power of the enchantment again. Mukin and others quickly backed away. The battle between these two emperors has been able to threaten them. Especially seeing Jian Wushuang's divine power, it was almost 200,000, and his shocked eyes were about to come out. Although the Shijia Sanjia powerhouse was shocked that Jian Wushuang would be so powerful, he was more worried about Shijio at this time. Ling Yuanzhan was pushed back. How could Shijio stop him? Your Majesty, we surrender. It was discovered that Shijio was still ready to resist. Shirhan was completely unable to stand up and directly chose to surrender for Shijio. If this continues, Shijio will undoubtedly die. Even if he could block this backlash, he wouldn't be Jian Wushuang's opponent. The gap was still too big. If it weren't for the shackles of enchantment, Jian Wushuang could completely avoid this trick, and his body skills would be flexible. No matter how Shijio calculated from that angle, he had no hope of winning. No! Shijio was still unwilling, his hands were madly unprinted, and the purple thunder on the center of his eyebrows flashed wildly. The power of restraint. The female emperor was about to suppress that group of arrogance, but she saw Shijio's determination, and the aura in him was still rising. She understood that Shijio still had yet to show his cards. Then maintained the enchantment again, but did not stop it. Shirhan felt that it was too hard and it was totally unnecessary. It's really not good. You can let Shijio personally propose marriage, or even take the eldest princess away. There is no need to make it look like this. It's crazy. Is this still the emperor? Mu Chen's hands trembled. The three defeated emperors retreated to the corner. The eyes are absent, and he is obviously scared. The supernatural power of 130,000 is just the pinnacle of the one tribulation realm. But the two players on the field are able to explode the combat power of the three tribulations realm, and they also have whole cards. Even if Wu Li had confidence in Jian Wushuang, he felt a little unstable at this time. Fortunately, he chose Jian Wushuang. If he were someone else, he would be desperate now. You must win. Wu Li prayed from the bottom of his heart. He had seen Jian Wushuang's true strength. The current Jian Wushuang hasn't made a sword yet. Didn't even display the eternal changes. Once the power of the starry sky is used, it is not a divine power to calculate. Jian Wushuang is just the peak of normalcy now. Realizing that Shijio still has a backhand, Jian Wushuang was also shocked by the opponent's strength this time. Guyu time and space, the strongest emperor, isn't that the great priest? Listening to Wu Li's tone, the other party can suppress the Lord of the Universe. Mastering the tribulation realm of the Emperor of the Universe is too far apart from the tribulation realm who has not mastered the universe. For example, the ordinary combat power of the three tribulations realm is between 180,000 and 220,000. But if you master the universe, the divine power can burst to the peak of 300,000. Wu Li half a step into the four tribulations realm, he has 300,000 supernatural powers. Has more than 100,000 supernatural powers. The gap between and the second tribulation realm is even greater. Therefore, the emperor who goes against the sky usually reaches the threshold of the three tribulations realm, can be compared to the Lord of the Universe, and even suppress the Lord of the Universe, is the legend of an era. But now the aura erupting in Shijio's body has been equal to Jian Wushuang. He once again pushed Ling Yuanzhan towards Jian Wushuang. This time, the divine power in Ling Yuanzhan exploded to 200,000. The sword has no double-sided whiteness, so it can only be supported. This time, it was indeed his carelessness. Knowing it a long time ago, he would exceed 100,000 times his divine power, and first go to fuse Dongjun's bones. In this way, the peak of the power of the beast will never be 3 times, but can reach an astonishing 5 times. By then, his normal combat power will be comparable to the Lord of the Universe. With his current combat power, he wants to resolve the battle quickly, which is somewhat impossible. Sergio's eyebrows were completely restrained, and the divine power in his body surged upwards. Now it has surpassed Jian Wushuang and reached 200,000 times. At the center of his eyebrows, there is the treasure of the universe that his grandfather has refined for him. A treasure of the universe at the pinnacle of the 6 tribulations. Contains the divine power of the half-step 7 tribulations realm. Once unfolded, the potential for explosion is endless. Will increase with the opponent's strength. This kind of heaven-defying treasure is already comparable to Jian Wushuang's beasts and gods. According to Jian Wushuang's guess, the beast god weapon was refined during the peak of Qixin, and should be the treasure of the universe in the 7 tribulations realm. It's just that although the internal source has been restored, it has not yet returned to its peak state. If it reaches the true peak, it will be better than it is now. Broken. Sergio suddenly shook his hands, and the aura in Lingyuan / completely burst. At this moment, the restraining power in Sergio's body has also reached its peak. Light is a protective cover condensed from the outside, and it possesses 200,000 times the power. Stone Country, in the dojo of the gods. Half a step towards the 7 tribulations realm, Sergio was sitting on the mountain and was comprehending the way of the flame god, but at this moment, she suddenly opened her eyes. According to the bloodline and the precious feeling that he refined by himself, he felt that the very good grandson was in a certain dangerous situation. Chapter 5689. Through time and space, he saw Yu Guo at a glance. Vietnam. Emperor. At the end, Shi Xiumu revealed surprise. He thought that his grandson had encountered a powerful tribulation realm, and forced to open the restriction. But he didn't expect that the opponent who fought with his grandson was actually an emperor. He couldn't help but exclaimed, "It seems that this holy meeting is unprecedented." The Gumu sect's holy meeting, although it is for the selection of saints, will also recruit some core disciples when screening the saints. This is why the quota is so precious. It's not that easy to become a core disciple of the Gumu school. Even Hui, a direct line of the 7 tribulations realm, needs to go through many screenings before he can become the core disciple of the Gumu sect. But even so, how many more can become the 5 tribulations realm? Also the same can reach. Some of the remaining core disciples, even if they were cultivated by the ancient Wood school, most of them stopped at the 3 tribulations realm or the 4 tribulations realm. Is like his grandson, or the emperor who fought with his grandson. Such a god-defying emperor is more than enough to enter the ancient Wood school. It is even possible to become a candidate disciple of the ancient moon god sect. It is considered to be a few talents in Shijizhuang. Sergio thought of the Hui who had risen in only 10,000 years. Fan Tianfeng also has a divine power of 200,000. The strength is unfathomable. Coupled with some of the original Gumu sect, this time the holy meeting is really very interesting. I felt that after Sergio was in Yu Kingdom, Sergio transmitted his voice to an ancient powerhouse in the Yu royal family. A strong man in the 6th tribulation realm. Used to be the emperor of the Yu Kingdom in a certain era, and also led the Yu Kingdom to its peak. The 16 countries with green grass are also ranked. Yu Guo currently ranks at the bottom, but in the time of the ancestor, it was able to rank in the top 5. Is also a half-step 7 tribulation realm existence, but unfortunately, he failed to cross the tribulation and became the dispersal tribulation. Sergio, why call me? An ancient voice passed through time and space into Shir's country. Sergio said calmly, I have a junior, in your Yu Kingdom palace, I hope my brother will keep him forever. Thanks, immature little guy. The 2 great powers just separated and communicated. Sergio lowered his posture and said that the ancient powerhouse of Yu Guo would naturally give this face. He is the sabotage going down the mountain, and Sergio is the master of the universe going up the mountain. Within the palace of the Yu Kingdom, after receiving a voice from an ancestor in the royal family, the female Emperor Fengshen's expression remained unchanged. She is naturally measured. Today's Yu country is still hers. Even if there are several ancestors in the royal family, after all, she is in power, and those ancestors will give her face. If you really want to kill a Shurjiao to increase the strength of the Yu country, no one will hesitate. It's just unnecessary. The best thing is to let Shurjiao retreat. The current female emperor, Jian Wushuang, is more and more pleasing to the eye. Is not only strong against the sky, but the background is also in line with her appetite. The relatives and children of the Wu family have the support of the Wu family. In the future, the Wu family will also stand with the Yu royal family. Can be regarded as mutual achievement. Click. The barrier began to emit cracks. Ling Yuanzhan burst completely, and countless divine powers surrounded Jian Wushuang, as if swallowing Jian Wushuang's body. Everyone not only gave Jian Wushuang a cold sweat. Of course, except for the Jinshan princess. Even Shirhan and Shurjiao didn't want Jian Wushuang to fall like that. The strong, all will be sympathetic to each other. Moreover, Jian Wushuang had previously given him the treasure to restore his supernatural power for a fair fight. Even if he returned the universe crystal, it is impressive to have such a gentleman's deeds. Surrounded by countless divine powers, the candle dragon wings behind Jian Wushuang wrapped his whole body. Even though the violent divine power invaded, it could not break through. The defensive power of the beast warrior still has no problems. Weakened 99% of the divine power attack. Those who fell on Jian Wushuang could break his divine body at best. Is not a serious injury. As long as it is a regular injury, he can recover instantly. Lasted a full time for a stick of incense, before the violent supernatural power completely disappeared. Shurjiao was suspended in the air, his clothes were ragged, and his silver armor was somewhat damaged. Looked at the beast god figure in the center of divine power. Jian Wushuang spread out the candle dragon wings. His divine body is indeed broken. But in the next moment his divine body instantly recovered to completeness, and the breath on his body exploded again, reaching 190,000. Your secret method is very strong. Jian Wushuang couldn't help but exclaimed. Shurjiao's eyes widened, and he said in shock, "Are you hurt at all?" Is not only Shurjiao, but everyone watching the game followed and felt incredible. This time even Wu Li frowned. The more he understands Jian Wushuang, the more he feels something is wrong. Jian Wushuang's strength seemed to be beyond his expectations. This time, he can recover from serious injuries magically and quickly. Unfortunately, just like this, it can't threaten me at all. Jian Wushuang's figure flashed, and he rushed out in an instant. Just an instant he has already reached Shurjiao. Clenched a fist with one hand and blasted directly on the opponent's chest, followed by a series of melee. Shurjiao faced a frenzied attack and soon stabilized. Used the power of restraint. Although he gained a short-term promotion, his time was limited. He is more anxious than Jian Wushuang. Ling Yuanzhan. Shurjiao stepped back half a step and performed the pinnacle secret method again. The same trick, it will be boring to use it again. Jian Wushuang drew away, gathered a huge blade with both hands, fell from the sky, and killed Shurjiao's face. The hand decision has not been formed yet, Shurjiao can only step back and dodge. Jian Wushuang didn't give him any chance at all. After obstructing the opponent's secret method, he leaped forward again. Shurjiao quickly parried. Now he has the last resort. Has been dragging, he will undoubtedly lose. But using that trick is extremely expensive. May fall into a deep sleep. Shurjiao exploded with divine power again, directly raising the divine power to 200,000. He didn't dare to use that trick easily, so he could only open the restriction completely. 200,000 supernatural powers exploded to fight Jian Wushuang. Feeling the constant flow of divine power, the sword is cold without double-sided color. He thought that Shurjiao could be consumed, but he didn't expect that the other party would be so resistant. It's been a quarter of an hour now, and there is no sign of weakening. On the contrary, the Vietnam War is getting stronger, and now it has exploded to 200,000 divine power. If this goes on, he will be at a disadvantage. Beast God Realm. Jian Wushuang also shouted. Under normal conditions, he has completely reached the extreme. Supernatural power 190,000. Boom! Jian Wushuang gathered his qi with both hands, blasted countless violent waves, and went straight to Shurjiao. Qi waves surrounded, constantly attacking. Shurjiao allowed Jian Wushuang to attack and carried them all down. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5690 greeted countless air waves and rushed straight up. Hit Jian Wushuang with a punch. He now has the upper hand. Jian Wushuang at this time was not an opponent at all. Under the crazy attack, Jian Wushuang completely gave up the defense. Jiao Zuo's battle situation caused everyone watching the battle to take a breath. They can also see that Jian Wushuang's divine power has begun to decline. And Shurjiao's divine power is constantly rising. What's going on? Mu Chen exclaimed, isn't Shurjiao who used the restriction? Not only him, but Wu Li is also very puzzled. It was Ming Shurjiao who used the power of restraint. After such a long time, Shurjiao was not weakened by backlash, but Jian Wushuang's divine power kept declining. Now Jian Wushuang's recovery speed can't keep up with the consumed supernatural power. Shirhan's eyes were hot, and he said excitedly, how could it be so simple for the pinnacle treasure made by the fifth master? Jian Wushuang is about to lose. The three emperors who were defeated before have now recovered a bit of aura, staring at the two on the battlefield, shaking their heads and sighing. They thought that Jian Wushuang would win, but they didn't expect Shurjiao to make a comeback. But the two people in the barrier now can accept whoever wins. Because of their strength, they have exceeded what they can see. Even everyone has heard of it, Great Priest. After all, they have never seen it before. This time they saw from the beginning to the end. The two super emperors fought desperately. The supernatural power has soared from the 130,000 entry point to 200,000. Are you going to lose? Empress Fengchen was not optimistic about Jian Wushuang either. She originally thought that Jian Wushuang could definitely win, but now Shurjiao is getting stronger in the battle, and she is not subject to any restrictions. Jian Wushuang is getting weaker and weaker, and there is no chance. Unless there is a whole card. The eldest princess Jin Chen behind the screen is the most excited. Snapped. She broke open the screen and rushed out. Stood on the edge of the barrier, looking at Shurjiao excitedly. This kind of scene, no matter who it is, will be moved. My sweetheart sacrificed his life for myself. In order to marry her, Shurjiao paid a lot. The empress saw this scene and thought of it. Is not blocking either. Because once Jian Wushuang loses, she has no excuses. It was the promise she made at the beginning, so she couldn't go back on it. If that's the case, I'm afraid Shurjiao will come in person. When the time comes, it will not be reasonable, but it will lose the general trend. With a muffled sound, Jian Wushuang's left arm was completely broken. That is, the left arm fused with the arm of the candle dragon. Was broken abruptly by Shurjiao. The blood is pouring down the wound. Jian Wushuang's supernatural power dropped directly by about 10,000. Now his supernatural power is only about 160,000. Shurjiao took the arm that had just been torn from Jian Wushuang in one hand, did not take the opportunity to attack again, but stopped and stared at Jian Wushuang and said, if you lose, if you continue to compare, you will be divided into life and death. Jie. Jian Wushuang held the wound with one hand and let out a gloomy, weird smile. This is the first time someone has pity on him. Admit defeat? He has never thought of surrendering in the face of the same rank. It's time to end. Jian Wushuang gave a wry smile. Originally wanted to drag and try, but found that he couldn't consume the other party at all. Then there is no need to hold on. Your strength is very strong, and your foundation is definitely much higher than mine. If I didn't have the treasure from my grandfather, I would have lost it long ago. Shurjiao did not forget to comfort Jian Wushuang at this time. Jian Wushuang straightened up, a surging life force spread, and his lost arm grew out in an instant. It's just that the divine power has not increased. There is no need for that anymore. Even if it is restored to 190,000 times, it doesn't make any sense. moved his arms a bit. Jian Wushuang let out a sigh of relief, and his whole body relaxed. You are wrong about this. My supernatural power is actually not as good as you. Jian Wushuang shook his head. For the control of divine power, he originally thought that there should be no gap with the opponent. Now it seems that he guessed wrong. There is still a gap. After all, the opponent has been majoring in supernatural power since childhood. How could it be better than the other party? This is Guyu time and space, a super time and space river that is countless times stronger than the original Morwa time and space. Temple of Qi is not enough to see here. What he saw was nothing more than the inheritance left by a half-step 8 tribulation realm. Guyu time and space, even the 9 tribulations realm appeared. How could it be comparable to the Temple of Qishan? In this time and space, even if there is an emperor who is stronger than Jian Wushuang, it is not surprising. In 10,000 years, Jian Wushuang was actually quite disappointed with Guyu time and space. Until today, he didn't feel a trace of fun. There was a war intent in his heart. Only an ancient wood continent, a super emperor like Shurjiao appeared. Moreover, the opponent's strength is probably not the strongest emperor in Gumu continent, and there are even more powerful Tianjios in Shurgua. The core disciple of the emperor in the ancient wood school is not weak. This is only the ancient wood continent. 9 days and 10 places, he hasn't walked again yet. There are countless Emperor Tianjiao, you can't just hear about it. That is not accurate. Like Shurjiao in front of him, at first they thought that the opponent's strength was only 130,000. Now it has exploded to 200,000. The great priest who has lived for several generations may have a deeper background. Maybe even he is not an opponent. As long as you haven't played against each other, you can't be sure that the opponent is weaker than him. Jian Wushuang thought he would be number 1 at first. Now he doesn't have that confidence. But he has the confidence to hit the first position. Outside the barrier. When everyone saw Jian Wushuang's breath sink, their complexions changed. Although there was still a glimmer of hope in their hearts, they had to give up when they saw Jian Wushuang, and they couldn't help sighing. Wu Li also has a solemn expression, sighed inwardly, Brother Wushuang, you should show your real strength. It's over, Wushuang nephew will give up. It's already very good. With such strength, your Yu country can fully absorb and enter the core, and your future achievements will not be weaker than those of Shurgua's top talents. Shi Han's expression was indifferent, because Shurjiao was about to defeat Jian Wushuang, so naturally he became very relaxed. And he still has plans in his heart. If Yu Kingdom does not absorb Jian Wushuang into the core, then he will personally pick up Jian Wushuang to go to Shi Kingdom. Enter the core of the royal family. In the Stone royal family, it is not only the Stone family. There are also elders with foreign surnames. As long as he is the core figure, he enjoys the same treatment as the strong Stone clan. Can also participate in the holy meeting. This time the holy meeting is not trivial, and the number of places will increase. A god-level country like Shurgua, how could it be like Yuegua with only 20 places? When the time comes, you can get Jian Wushuang a place. Jian Wushuang in the enchantment never expected that he and Wu Li had calculated this way, and as of today, there has not been a finalized quota. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5691 is so worthless in Shurgua. If I really knew, Jian Wushuang would probably break his thigh. Such a simple thing, why bother to make it so complicated? Now he can't get off the stage. Shurjiao, look forward to it, Emperor against the heavens, it's not just divine power. Jian Wu's double-faced color is serious, his voice has just fallen, his breath has changed from normal, converging to the extreme. Shurjiao also frowned slightly, and suddenly couldn't feel Jian Wushuang's breath. A light blue breath just instantly replaced the dark red power of the beast god. This breath is as unchanging as ever. It is in the starry sky, anyone can see it. But there are no people who can use it. Because no one has noticed this kind of power at all. The power of the stars. Jian Wushuang's eyes all turned light blue. Clenched fists with both hands and screamed, even his hair turned blue, and there was a light blue arc around him. Everlasting change. In an instant, Jian Wushuang transformed from the Emperor of Divine Power to the Emperor of Time and Space. The power of time is mysterious. The time and space in the enchantment are all within the grasp of Jian Wushuang. His changes did not seem to be aroused by any breath. But the strong power represents everything. I can't see it. Even the Empress could not see Jian Wushuang's strength. Just felt Jian Wushuang's supernatural power disappear and replaced by a mysterious power. Time and space. The female emperor's expression changed, and she exclaimed, "It has something to do with the origin of the universe." Wu Li and Mu Chen are both the masters of the universe and have their own universe. Naturally, they have also seen that Jian Wushuang's power is related to the origin of the universe. It's about to come back. I know he still has his whole cards. Wu Li said excitedly, "Look, Shurjiu is determined to lose." This time Mu Chen didn't dare to be sure. He just asked curiously, "Wushuang is just an emperor. How can it resemble the aura of the origin of the universe?" Don't ask more about this. Who doesn't have any secrets, otherwise can it be so powerful? Mukan also realized that he had asked more, so he didn't say more. Hope Jian Wushuang can win Shurjiu. Although other people found Jian Wushuang's supernatural power disappeared, they didn't see much. Even Shurjiu himself couldn't see anything strange. "Is this the power you are talking about?" Shurjiu said with some uncertainty, "Your divine power doesn't seem to have changed in any way." Jian Wushuang didn't deny it, but said lightly, "Divine power, not the only one." "Then let me learn something other than divine power." Shurjiu was full of fighting spirit, and he was full of confidence at this time. It was the princess who was standing outside the barrier with a surprised look. She has seen this light blue breath. That was in Baihua Mountain. The power erupted by the mysterious Five Tribulations realm powerhouse. The more she looked, the more she felt like it. It's just that the mysterious powerhouse is performing kendo. But Jian Wushuang didn't have any kendo aura on him. Kendo and Jidao are completely separated, but they are in a state of fusion. The power of Jian Wushuang is the power of the stars. And kendo is more like a realm he cultivated with the power of the stars. But dealing with Shurjiu, he didn't need to use kendo at all. The power of killing and cutting is too heavy. I am afraid that using kendo can kill and deal with it instantly. Is just eternal change, that's enough. Jian Wushuang in peak state, he doesn't know how strong he is when converted into supernatural power. But facing the Lord of the Universe in the Three Tribulations realm, he has enough confidence. This has already explained the problem. Shurjiu. Before the voice came, Jian Wushuang had embraced his arms and appeared behind Shurjiu. This scene surprised everyone. Even Elder Mu Chen couldn't see the speed of Jian Wushuang just now. Only Wu Li looked around in a daze. The Empress on the throne showed an incredible look. Is not how fast Jian Wushuang is, but time slows down on everyone. Only when the Empress was not affected, did he clearly see Jian Wushuang's methods. Shurjiu's complexion changed drastically, and he felt the power of nothingness behind him. Although he didn't know why Jian Wushuang suddenly appeared behind him, he still bit his scalp and hit it with an elbow. Snapped. Jian Wushuang caught it with one hand, shook his head and said, "It's too weak." Click. With a slight force on the palm of his hand, he directly smashed Shurjiu's arm. 200,000 supernatural power, in the peak state of the sword without hands, like an ant. The current Jian Wushuang is stronger than when he joined the road, I don't know how much. In the original world, half of the universe that has been lit up is shining, bursting out with endless original power. When these forces enter the dark starry sky, they will be transformed into starry sky power. Jian Wushuang now is completely different from the past. Used to borrow the power of the stars. Now he can condense the power of the stars himself. Is the same as the power of everything. Slowly become familiar and master. Is just the power of all things, and now it is more suitable for assisting. The power of the starry sky is the strongest power. Ha! Jian Wushuang yelled, grabbing Shurjiu's neck and pulling Shurjiu's broken arm with his other hand. Directly tore off his arm abruptly. Take the other way and return it to the other. Shurjiu's face turned pale instantly, and his divine power was a little unstable. He didn't expect that just a face-to-face can easily crush him. Is this another kind of power Jian Wushuang mentioned earlier? Is too strong. He has never felt it in Jiejing. Outside the barrier, seeing Shijiao injured, the eldest princess Jin Qin became worried. Was about to win. Jian Wushuang is like changing a person. The strength is not clear at all, the strong is a bit terrifying. Even Wu Li swallowed. This kind of power is beyond his imagination. His previous speculation is still a little conservative. If he is facing the current Jian Wushuang, I am afraid there is not much hope. So horrible. The supernatural power seemed so vulnerable before Jian Wuduan. You lost. Jian Wushuang didn't rush to kill, but he shot Shijiao out of 100 meters away with one palm. The palm just now penetrated Shijiao's chest directly. Even the silver armor was completely cracked. Shijiao got up with difficulty, trying to learn Jian Wushuang's appearance and restore his arm, but suddenly thought that his current strength comes from the power of restraint. There is no extra vitality to supplement the physical body. There is only one-armed Shijiao, there is no hope anymore. Divine power can't be maintained at the peak state. Even in the peak state, it is crushed by Jian Wushuang. The current Jian Wushuang is full of oppression. The light blue breath envelopes, and the blue arc shines. The hair is blue. Although the aura is not fierce, but that powerful force prevents the opponent from breathing. The absolute oppression is the purest oppressive force. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5692. It's too strong, although I can't see how strong his divine power is, but Shijiao, who can easily defeat 200,000 divine powers, is probably not weaker than the Lord of the Universe, or even stronger. Shirhan's eyes were deep and his tone of voice was deep. Feeling desperate for Shijiao. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang did not kill. Not weak, Shijiao will undoubtedly die. 1. Elder Mu Chen turned from despair to excitement. Shijiao is desperate this time. Today Jian Wushuang became famous in the first battle. Not only will it spread in Vietnam, but it will also be famous throughout the ancient Wood continent. God against the heavens. Can even be said to be the strongest emperor against heaven in the ancient Wood continent. They really couldn't think of the emperor who could defeat the current Jian Wushuang. The people present, even some Jinchen princesses who hate Jian Wushuang, think from the bottom of their hearts that Jian Wushuang is definitely the strongest emperor in Gumu continent. None of them. As for the entire Guyu time and space, it would be too big, they couldn't guarantee it. But after seeing Jian Wushuang's true strength, they also felt that Jian Wushuang could at least rank in the top 10. The almost invincible great priest in the rumors, the strength described is similar to the current Jian Wushuang. Facing the 200,000 supernatural power Shijiao, he crushed easily. This combat power is no different from the Lord of the Universe. I lost. Shijiao said lonely. But his supernatural power is still rising. Admit defeat on the lips, but still have attachments in my heart, so I obviously won't give up easily. Jian Wushuang slowly landed, stepped forward without rush or slowly, encircling his chest with his hands, and said casually, "Actually, you can give up." I promised her that she would do my best, even if the catastrophe is over, I must make this promise. Shijiao turned to look at Princess Jinchen outside the barrier, with eyes full of pampering. But the eldest Princess Jinchen has red eyes. She wants Shijiao to give up now. Don't fight it anymore. Even if Jian Wushuang is not a killer, if he continues to fight like this, he will definitely die. Even Jian Wushuang was a little moved, staring at Shijiao's embarrassed look, reminding him of the past. He was so persistent before. It was only later discovered that clinging to this kind of thing is useless. Only when this kind of attachment is transformed into practice will there be results. If Shijiao was in the tribulation realm, the power of the 7 tribulation realm, how could he be so embarrassed? Who would dare to stop him in Vietnam? Within the royal family, the ancestor who opened up the Yu kingdom was nothing but a lingering and dying 7 tribulation realm. I really want to confront the last master of the universe in the 7 tribulations realm. I am afraid that I dare not stop it at all. and will pack Jin Chen and send it to him. Although this obsession was used in the wrong place, Jian Wushuang also admired Shurjiao very much. If only I could be as cool as you. At the beginning. Can't bear to look back. Jian Wushuang raised his head, not looking at Shurjiao, pretending to be relaxed. I will respect you, but don't think I will keep my hands. Holy meeting place, he must get it. Open Wanlu, this is his great opportunity. On the far side of the starry sky, there is a long and weak river of time and space, waiting for him to save it. The expectations of countless people he can't live up to, nor dare to live up to it. Can't have any kindness. Shurjiao stood firm. His divine power began to increase rapidly. He still had to use that trick. Jian Wushuang, I admit that you are very strong now, and the strength is beyond my imagination, but the next move will be my life, you have to take it. Shurjiao laughed frantically, and a scorching light burst out of his body. In the light, a pair of eyes looked at the Yu Kingdom Princess Jin Chen for the last time. Seems to be saying goodbye. Sword has no double-sided color change, angrily said, Are you crazy? This is going to be desperate. And it's taking his own life in exchange for his life. Shurjiao in the light and shadow has only one arm left, with his toes floating in the air, making a fist with one hand and shouting, Death, hum! The space was shattered in an instant. Jian Wushuang protected his face with both hands, just so hard to resist. He doesn't worry about himself. It's just that Shurjiao really doesn't need this. Even if he enters the royal clan as a patriarch, he will not have the same room with Jin Chen. After attending the holy meeting, if he can successfully open the Wanlu Shenmu, there is a high probability that he will run with Wu Li. Wait until the strength is strong before coming out. Open Wanlu Shenmu. On the bright side, the Guma school will not interfere. But I don't know how many people secretly will stare. It's not easy to open, but it's much simpler to kill people and win treasures. So I must avoid it for a while. Even if he didn't hide, he would leave Gumu continent and go to other areas among the 9 heavens and 10 places. Looking for the 10 sons of Qishan Temple who came together back then. At that time, we will be together. The people of Guyu time and space, it is not that Jian Wushuang distrusts, but is unnecessary. No matter how powerful these people are, they will not travel with him to the long river of time and space of the primitive universe to save prosperity. In the eyes of the practitioners of Guyu time and space, there is a remote place, there are no treasures of chance, who will spend a long time drifting in the past. Only those of them who come from the Temple of Qishan can care about the time and space of their hometown. They are all fighting one by one. Jian Wushuang, how dare not to fight? His strongest opponent, but extinction, is still waiting for him. The turbulent power struck. Jian Wushuang was completely wrapped in the power of the starry sky, without fear. In his peak state, even if he fights against the Lord of the Universe, he will not suffer. Ah! Shurjiao yelled to the sky, clenched a fist with one hand, and completely exploded the power of restraint, transforming it into annihilation. Crackling, the enchantment was instantly shattered, and the Empress Feng Chen personally stepped down to suppress the violent aura. But this way, Jian Wushuang was miserable. It would be good if Shurjiao's attack was completely dispersed, but the area within the enchantment was too small, and coupled with the suppression of the female emperor, after the breath burst, the space was directly crushed. Jian Wushuang and Shurjiao both fell into the turbulence of time and space, the colorful world, like a mirror. What a lunatic! Jian Wushuang's aura skyrocketed again, and he resisted completely. Waves of heat hit him, but they did not cause any harm to him. Jian Wushuang stared at the crazy Shurjiao, sighed and shook his head. The other party's age may be much older than him, but the mood is probably not good. Chic is really chic. I never thought that even if he desperately changed him, the royal family would find someone to marry the Princess Jin Chen. Is it cheaper for others? Why do you spell it like this? The terrifying power that swept through began to gradually weaken. Shurjiao's body began to enter a petrified state, and the cracks on the divine body began to solidify when they appeared. The vitality has been exhausted, and then there is death. Once the divine body is finished, the remaining source cannot stop this backlash. This is the time and space dominated by divine power. Divine body is the strongest foundation. Once the divine body is finished, it is a waste to retain the original source. Is the same as the White King at the beginning. If the source is gone, only the divine body is left, and it is no different from a useless person. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5693. Why did you? Shurjio's face was like ashes and he was about to fall, but Jian Wushuang's aura remained unchanged, but the blue arc flickered more intensely. This time he was completely desperate. Desperately, there is no way that Jian Wushuang can do anything. The luck is in the barrier. If it weren't for the barrier, he wouldn't be able to change Jian Wushuang completely. Such a pity. In the barrier, he can't change Jian Wushuang. And Jian Wushuang seemed to be unharmed. He can no longer guess Jian Wushuang's true strength. None of the rumored great priests can compare with Jian Wushuang. The complete restraint, the burst of power of nirvana, can kill the Lord of the universe. And in such a small space, even the top powerhouse among the masters of the universe should have fallen. Jian Wushuang is nothing. The aura on his body did not weaken, but became stronger. This is the horror of the power of the stars. In fact, Shurjio's power of nirvana that just broke out can threaten Jian Wushuang, but his power of nirvana, in front of the power of the stars, is just like an ant. And his power of extinguishment was released from the power of restraint. There was not much at all, and it would be backlashed later. Jian Wushuang is different. The power of the starry sky is transformed from the source, and it can be said to be endless. How does this compare? Jian Wushuang gently shook his head. This is not a fight between life and death. If it were life and death, Shurjio would have died 10,000 times. The physical body completely entered the petrochemical. Before Shurjio lost consciousness, he exhausted the last trace of his Buddha's supernatural power and left a word to Jian Wushuang. Take care of her for me. The voice of fell, and Shurjio's physical and divine bodies were completely petrified. Only the origin is resisting stubbornly, but it can't stand it for long. Enough! The female emperor gave a soft cry, and her jade hand stretched out, and a surging vitality entered Shurjio's body, protecting the last source. With a light swipe of his finger, he tore a door of time and space. Take him back to Shurgua and some help. The empress turned her head and said to Shurhan, a little later, even if he survives, he will be a useless person. Shurhan heard the words, rushed over, grabbed Shurjio's body by Shurhua, and directly entered the gate of time and space. Brother 9. The eldest princess Jinchen wanted to keep up, but was stopped by the empress. Jian Wushuang stood aside, a little embarrassed. He hadn't thought that one day he would beat a mandarin duck. Fortunately, he is not a villain, and he will not fall into trouble. Even if you join the royal family and become the eldest princess Jinchen's Taoist companion, you won't think of her too much. The point is that at that time, it is no longer unconcerned, but upright. Even so, Jian Wushuang will not touch her. He just wants to become stronger, to solve the big trouble of extinction, and then follow the path of the master, and go to the future to meet with teacher Xian. Go and see the future world. What is hidden when it arrives? Within the starry sky, who is planning again? Princess Jinchen fell on her knees, crying Lihua with rain, raised her head and stared at her cold mother, and said heartbreakingly, why are you forcing me? The big thing is set, forget him. The empress' voice was cold and there was no room for maneuver. The key point is that she can't stand it anymore when she sees her daughter's appearance. Where is Jian Wushuang still standing? Looking at Jian Wushuang's tall and straight back, his face was bright and handsome. Why go to Shurjio? The opponent is indeed very good, with both background and strength, and he sacrificed his life for Jinchen. But what good is this? Strength is respected. Don't be funny, she is someone who came over, knowing what the robbery is facing. The pressure that did not exist in the emperor's time will explode when it reaches the robbery realm. Once you arrive in a certain robbery, it is estimated that you will regret it for life. Dealu is only temporary. Strength is for a lifetime. Jian Wushuang is so good, with a Yu Kingdom princess, it is more than enough. If this time the situation of the battle were to pass, I am afraid that the forces that want to be included in Jian Wushuang can be ranked 9 days away. That can still get Yugua. You, the eldest princess of Vietnam, even if it inherits the throne in the future, what's the matter? Compared with the 7-star sects on the ancient Wood continent, the foundation is still quite different. This time they crossed over, but they found the treasure. Jian Wushuang's background is not complicated. And Wu Li also said that Jian Wushuang couldn't stay in the outland, and he fell out of poverty. Only then did he come to Vietnam to take refuge in the Wu family. Even if Jian Wushuang became the 5 Tribulations realm in the future, without interference from outsiders, he could not interfere with the Yu King clan. A top thug in by Jian. Even if it is the Empress, I feel that I have made a lot of money this time. Jian Wushuang took a breath and returned to normal. Looking at Princess Jinshin in front of her, she didn't know what to say. Can only turn around and hold a fist at the Empress slightly. Your Majesty, look. His meaning is obvious. How does this end? Muwang, you first bring Jian Wushuang to settle down in the capital, and talk about the rest 3 days later. Empress Fengchen also knew that it was not suitable to talk about the previous agreement at this time. Wait for my daughter to come over first, and then take it slowly. There are still 10 years to go before the holy meeting, and strive to get everything done within 10 years. After Mukin heard this, he hurriedly stepped forward to pull Jian Wushuang and replied, Your Majesty, don't worry, Wei Chen will do it. Wu Shuang nephew, come with me. Jian Wushuang bowed to bid farewell, and followed Mu Chen to prepare to leave. But when he passed the threshold, he turned his head and looked at the 3 emperors who remained in the hall. These 3 people were found by Elder Mu Chen. Did not follow them now but was kept. I am afraid that the female emperor also discovered the power of death exerted by 2 of the emperors. Jian Wushuang is not in a hurry. If you go to mention it now, it will arouse people's suspicion. I will ask Elder Mu Chen later. If he is detained by the female emperor, he will be able to find out when he becomes a family member in the future. So in order to leave the palace with Mu Chen and Wu Li, Brother Mu Chen, don't let it go. After all, it's my nephew. I can arrange it. I will take him to your house and wait 3 days later. After Wu Li repeatedly politely rejected the kindness of Elder Mu Chen, Jian Wushuang returned to his previous residence. After entering the mansion, Wu Li and Jian Wushuang breathed a sigh of relief. This old fellow, you are thinking about living in the Muangfu before you even join the family, and you look down on my Wu family too much. Wu Li looked a little angry. Is obviously a little bit brooding. Even if you marry a maid, you won't live in someone else's house before the wedding. Not to mention, Jian Wushuang is an emperor against the sky. This time the royal family, let's have fun. Brother Wu Li, why bother to the secular face? Once Wan Lu is opened, what are these dynasty sects? Oh, it's my mundane thing, but this Yue Wang royal family is really not a good thing. If you marry in the future, you must be careful. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5694. The 2 have entered an other courtyard, where a willow tree fell, and there was a beautifully carved tea house in front of them. Wu Li's tea is cooked on the familiar road. Jian Wushuang is to savor carefully. Jian Wushuang felt like Wu Li said bad things about the royal family behind his back. Change of status. If he is Shurjiu, I am afraid he will be mad. Or that Princess Jinshin. Although he feels that the other party is too persistent, it is difficult for him to accept it when it happens to him. The poor boy meets the eldest lady. You have to be right. You are so beautiful, and you are worried that others will occupy the magpie's nest. This kind of thing is simply unclear. What's more, Shurjiu is desperate. If it's for Yu Guo's belongings, why not fight for the throne of Shurgua? As far as he knows, the contemporary lord of Shurgua is not Shurxiu. Is Shurxiu's eldest brother, although he is also in the 6 Tribulations realm, but the outside world generally disagrees with his strength. The possibility of 99% in the future is to specialize in Sanjia. In this way, the throne is vacant. If Shurxiu fully supports Shurjiu, It is very promising. Shixia's peak combat power, if it can reach 180,000. 190,000 is a bit reluctant, it's not my own supernatural power, so I don't do calculations. The Emperor has 180,000 combat power, becoming the Lord of the Universe, it can be said that it is a certainty. Coupled with Shirshio's training, it is not difficult to become the 4 Tribulations realm. The 5 Tribulations realm needs some external opportunities. Shirgio is also the proud son of heaven. The 5 Tribulations realm may not be impossible. It can be said that Shirgio is the seedling of the 5 Tribulations realm. Such a pity. I don't know if I can recover before the holy meeting. Wu Li poured tea to Jian Wushuang and said, "If I were the female emperor, I saw Shirgio's performance today, even if the stone on her chest would melt, she would be fine." Opened a dog hole and asked Shirhan to take Shirgio away, without a word of comfort. The emperor is moody and most ruthless. Jian Wushuang gave an evaluation. From the mundane world to the present, the same applies. Isn't it? Wu Li nodded and agreed. Jian Wushuang put down his teacup and said in a serious tone, "Let's talk about business. There should be no problem with the number of places in the holy meeting this time. Don't worry about this, if the royal family doesn't give it, we will divorce." Wu Li promised, patting his chest. In fact, Jian Wushuang is also unlucky. He didn't see Wu Li's short-sightedness. If his strength is revealed early, I am afraid Qin Jianmen will give him a place. It's just these 10,000 years. It's not easy to get the details. Although Wu Li's vision is a bit short-sighted, the layout is still very elegant. 10,000 years, Jiang Jian Wushuang's identity has been flawless. Walked out of a down-and-out family, traveled for several epochs in the Outland, and returned to the Yu Kingdom to seek refuge in the Wu family. And not just talking, Wu Li has arranged for someone to leave a trace of Jian Wushuang on purpose. Although Jian Wushuang was only a small deacon of King Yanzong at the beginning, his identity was investigated by King Yanzong. This time he joined the royal family, the other party might be investigating his identity at this time. With Wu Li's layout, Jian Wushuang didn't worry at all. There is no deep-rooted family to guarantee him. It is not easy to get into the core. Even if he is against the sky and his identity is unknown, he will be suspected and dare not reuse it. Especially powers like the Vietnamese royal family have too much suspicion. There shouldn't be any problems, but there is one thing you should pay attention to. I have heard that a certain ancestor of the Yu country will wake up in the near future. Maybe it is related to the input. It's impossible, I'm just an emperor. Does that old ancestor care? Jian Wushuang asked in surprise. He is an emperor married to a royal family, he is a door-to-door son-in-law. The other party can see him. Wu Li continued, "I'm worried now, he will see something, for example, you and I have no blood. This cannot be done. There is nothing to worry about, my physical body is a bit special, changing all things, and the powerhouse of the 7 Tribulations realm will not see the problem." Jian Wushuang was most attentive to his physical body. The original Morwa time and space, although not following the genre of physical body and body. But there is still a hand in the refinement of the physical body. 10 times of tempering, it surpassed the peak of Morwa time and space. Even in the time and space of Guyu, his physical perfection, in the same level, can firmly rank in the top 3. The number 1 is a bit exaggerated, Jian Wushuang is not as confident as Wu Li. Except for this, there is nothing. After the ancestor recovers, most of them will go to the holy meeting. Although the Sanjia realm cannot participate in the holy meeting, it is a good choice to observe it. Wu Li breathed a sigh of relief, and his confidence came up. He still has confidence in his layout. Isn't this about to succeed now? Get the quota and wait for the holy meeting 10 years later. Open Wanlu and become a master. Jian Wushuang didn't say anything more, let's take one step at a time. As for the 2 emperors related to the power of death, he didn't tell Wu Li. Although the 2 are in the same boat, the relationship is not so good yet. The key, this has nothing to do with Wu Li. The power of death matter, but it involves the future. He must pay attention to it. Wait 3 days later, see Elder Mu Chen and try again. The main event is to open Wanlu. The power of death, second. If he could drop by, he would not dislike the trouble. I just don't know whether this power of death has anything to do with extinction. If there is, then the opponent's hand is too long. Under the willow tree, 3 days passed quickly. Wu Li didn't leave for the past 3 days, so he kept playing with tea sets and chatting with Jian Wushuang for 3 days. One old and one young, after talking about practice, talking about legends. When finally talked about women, mentioned the same name. The Empress Fengchen. Both of them leaked weird smiles and then stopped directly. Just when the two were about to leave from Yuanfu, Elder Mu Chen came in person. Elder Mu Chen, you are too polite. Come here and bring something. Wu Li said from his mouth, but his body was sincere, directing the housekeeper to the back room. Jian Wushuang didn't care about that. The treasures sent were not simple, but unfortunately they were all divine treasures, and he didn't need it at all. Dong Kun's bones, he can't even digest them, so there is no time to absorb those divine treasures. I improve too slowly. If you want basic divine power and reach the level of the 3 tribulations, I am afraid it will be the year of the monkey. Dong Kun's skeleton, so far he can't see how powerful it is. Anyway, it is at least a skeleton from the 7 tribulations realm. The bones of the flesh contain extremely rich divine power. The original source was extinguished, but the flesh was not corrupted, but the flesh was refined by humans, leaving the bones and the inner power of the divine body. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5695. Jian Wushuang only needs to fuse it into his divine body, and he can quickly break his divine power to more than 200,000. Even more. He hasn't heard of the matter of someone going to absorb the divine body of the 7 tribulations realm. Don't know how much it will improve in the end. After the matter of face was settled, Elder Mu Chen took the lead, drank a sip of tea without rushing, and said solemnly, Brother Wu Li, today, I will come to propose marriage by crossing the Chen family. Look at this marriage. What to do? Well, you know, I'm just such a nephew. I was a lonely nephew since I was a child. I went to Outland and got a powerful chance. I was chased and killed. I went to Vietnam to join me. The princess took a fancy to it. Since your majesty has lifted it, how dare we have any opinions? Wu Li was very modest, and he praised Elder Mu Chen and the entire royal family. Almost called Jian Wushuang a stinky beggar. If this is the case, then he'll just mention it. Don't worry about the betrothal gift. 8 million yuan will be sent right away. The wedding day will be set in 3 years. What do you think? Mu Chen was also very happy. These are all imaginary. He knows what Jian Wushuang wants. Jian Wushuang, standing behind Wu Li, in addition to serving tea to the two as a gift for the younger generation, he also listened to their conversation. When he heard 8 million, his face moved. 8 million, if it is the universe crystal, some are missing. Elder Mu Chen, he might be able to collect tens of millions of universe crystals in one big life. This time I took 8 million, and I look down on people too much. Although he is not from the Wu family, he still thinks this matter is too much. Is obviously to look down on people. He was a patriarch and sold himself to the royal family. When Wu Li heard it, his face sank slightly like Jian Wu. It is also clear that these are small things, and the most important thing is the number of places in the holy meeting. Can't break a big thing because of a little thing. It doesn't matter, it's just that I heard that the Gumusek's messenger has recently arrived. I don't know how many places Yuegwa has gotten this time? Wu Li asked tentatively. Although Mu Chen mentioned it when Jian Wushuang fought Shijio, he also needed a guarantee. If there is no quota, it is better to transfer to someone else now. After Mukin heard it, he flipped his hand and took out a token from the mustard seeds, and smiled, Brother Wu Li, see what this is. Seeing the token, Wu Li's complexion slowed, and he took it directly from Elder Mu Chen's hand. 2 tokens. A piece of gold, representing the tribulation realm. A piece of silver, representing the emperor. Holy meeting qualifications. Has already arrived. One is Wu Li's own, and the other is Jian Wushuang. This, Wu Li held the token with a smile, and handed the token of the emperor to Jian Wushuang, and his own piece was also in his arms. Brother Muqin, you gave me a great surprise today. Holy meeting place, he actually got it a long time ago. According to normal circumstances, the royal family will not give them quotas. But today, he was given a sacred order for the tribulation realm. Is equal to their Wu family, with one more quota. How can this not make Wu Li happy? Although there is no suitable candidate for the tribulation realm in the Wu family, Wu Li can take this tribulation realm holy society token and sell it. Is definitely a sky-high price. What is 1.8 million? Muqin smiled and said, this token, but your majesty gave it to Wushuang's nephew, you must cherish it. This is okay. Wu Li promised, patting his chest. He understood what Muqin meant. This token can be given to him, but he has to pull out a strong support. Empress Fengchen will also participate in this holy meeting. Need help? The Wu family married the royal family and naturally got on a boat. This token cannot be easily given to others, but to find a strong supporter who needs the other to assist the empress in seizing the position of the saint. In this way, the price will be much lower. But Wu Li is still very happy. He originally planned to use the power of his family to find a holy guild token with tribulation realm qualification, but he doesn't need it now. Willow this kind of thing, how could he not leave himself with a whole card? This token is like a divine help. Elder Muqin is also very happy. This time their royal family has obtained a lot of tokens, but they are not neighbors. This is also to win Jian Wushuang and Wu's family. In that case, I hope Brother Wu Li will also give us a surprise at that time. Elder Muqin raised his eyebrows and said in a daze, this time the holy meeting is unprecedented, you can't be careless. Wu Li also followed the words and said, everything has its own definite number. Today's ancient wood continent is deadly silent. It is time to be more active. 9 heavens and 10 earths, we are already in the countdown position. It's all the same, Guyu time and space is the most powerful, always in the past. The 8 tribulations realm of that era is really many. When the ancestors resurrected, they were still talking about the past falling era. It's a pity that one generation is not as good as one generation. The face of Elder Muqin has a look of remembrance. Jian Wushuang was listening carefully. Fallen era is the thing that happened after the goddess created the ancient moon time and space. The fall of Heavenly Girl, a strong man who has completed the 9 tribulations, the way she scattered has created a group of powerful 8 tribulations realm. These powerful people created the ancient moon god sect, and the 19 strongest among them have created 19 8-star sections is passed down to this day. The original Shenmu king was one of them. But strength is the countdown. Because the ancient wood continent has the least resources, only the Wanlu Shenmu is relatively rare and special, but unfortunately it is not controlled by the ancient wood faction. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so bad, even the flame divine power of Shirgua couldn't match it. In today's era, the Lord of the Universe in the 8 tribulations realm is almost extinct. The entire Guyu time and space, I am afraid there are not many. Many have left Guyu time and space. For Jian Wushuang is very powerful here. But the Master of the Universe in the 8 tribulations realm can see it. Guyu time and space, just like the powerhouse in the dispersing tribulation realm, lost its vitality. Stay here, can only wait to die. It is better to go to other time and space rivers. The 9 core time and space rivers, and the endless starry sky. Where is the belonging? The strong man in the robbery realm, who can escape the long river of time and space, should not be restrained. Of course, you have to have that strength when you go out. Like Jian Wushuang, there is no need to say more, just the emperor. Even if the powerhouse of the 5 tribulations realm goes to another time and space, it is very dangerous. Can only stay in Guyu time and space. Sanjia realm is even more desperate to sleep. The source of divine power is cut off, and vitality is lost. This is a nightmare for those peak powers. Ordinary tribulation realm powerhouses are fortunately able to resist. Those who are strong in the 8 tribulations realm can't hold it. Many powerhouses in the 8 tribulations realm have fallen along with the universe. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5696 is the same as the god not wanting to face the self who has lost his origin. Of course, looking at it now, the has another plan. Just Jian Wushuang doesn't know what the other party is planning. If the gods succeed, I am afraid it will be an unprecedented disaster. Sanji regained its vitality. That can't be done simply by injecting life force. Needs the root, not the infinite life force. Jian Wushuang knows this. In the future, he has enough strength to return to the Temple of Qixin, and he must explore the plan of the gods. Okay, I won't bother you, but Wushuang nephew wants to go with me. I have something to arrange. Elder Mu Chen stood up, preparing to leave with Jian Wushuang. Wu Li also had no objection. After sending the two out of the house, they returned to the mansion with ambition. Using a secret teleportation formation, they left the capital directly and returned to the Wu family. Is hiding somewhere because of his backhand. Jian Wushuang followed Elder Mu Chen to the Muangfu. The two found a small courtyard with a leisurely and unique feeling, with a maid waiting there, and outside the pavilion, there was a mountain lake with a calm surface. Wu Shuang nephew, just tell me anything. After Elder Mu Chen waved his hand to let the maid go down, he continued, they are all about to become a family. There are some things you want to keep from Wu Li, you can tell me at any time. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes and smiled. At Wu's mansion, he transmitted the sound to Elder Mu Chen and asked him to take him away from Wu's mansion. At this critical time, leaving alone, I'm afraid Wu Li would also have doubts, so he asked Mu Chen to take him out, and by the way, he was close to the other party. Go to inquire about the two emperors related to the power of death. This time, thanks to Elder Mu Chen, I really have some things that I want to fill with that uncle. Jian Wushuang compiled it carefully, and Mu Chen was fascinated by it. Finally, Mu Chen did it directly. What? Have you encountered that kind of power in Outland? Mu Chen couldn't believe it. The two emperors were both found by him, so after the deduction, the female emperor told the matter. Mukin also understood what that power represents, so he was so surprised. Why, Elder Mu Chen knows too. Jian Wushuang's heart moved, and there really was something he didn't know. It depends on whether he can explode this time. Mukin took his seat again, leaning on the recliner, recalling what the Empress Fengchen had said, but he said it all without concealment. He thought Jian Wushuang knew about it, and he said it was open and bright. Jian Wushuang exclaimed, sure enough, I guessed it well. I'm afraid there are still people behind these two people. From Mu Chen, Jian Wushuang learned the power of death, the secret in Guyu time and space. This secret, few people know, not even some Six Tribulations realm. Only some powerful people in power know about it. The female Emperor Fengchen also learned from the ancestors of the Yu royal family. The power of death is not called the power of death in Guyu time and space. Is the power to destroy the world. When the goddess fell, there was a power to destroy the world. That time was the pinnacle of the Eight Tribulations realm of Guyu time and space, and it was also the closest they were to death. The power of destroying the world appeared. In desperation for 9 days. Among the 10 places, there are 3 continents that have become relics. Only the 8-star Zhongmen and some secret realms were left, and the rest were all destroyed, leaving only the ruins. For 9 days, all of them were broken. The scope and background have been greatly affected. Many people don't know why those ruins appeared, and they thought they were like that. It is actually caused by the power of destroying the world. Actually appeared several times in the follow-up, but there was no horror, and there was very little destruction. Until now, the power of extinction has completely disappeared. Sometimes someone finds the power of death in the relics of some time and space periods, but it is also surviving. Some people want to master this kind of power, but they find that they will swallow the vitality in the body just after being contaminated. If they want to get rid of it, countless vitality is needed to accumulate it. No one dared to touch this kind of power anymore. Especially those who are strong in the robbery, their vitality is inherently limited, and it is the most difficult to recover. Once they encounter the power of death, as long as they are contaminated, There is a risk of falling asleep and even falling. Jian Wushuang sighed secretly in his heart. He is in control of the existence of the power of death. Even if his strength is only half a step in the 7 tribulations realm, he can threaten those strong in the 8 tribulations realm. Except for the Lord of the universe, everyone is afraid of the power of death. Even if he is the Lord of the universe, he doesn't want to be tainted with this kind of power. This also made Jian Wushuang curious if it was really a means of extinction. The time that Naomi survived was too long. Appeared from the time of the fall of the ancient moon time and space, and then to the time and space of Mo Luo and the time and space of the primitive universe. The span is too big. Plus Dongjun. Jian Wushuang and unable to calculate. If this is the case, then extinction was once so powerful. Has been metamorphosed to the present, and it is all 6 calamities. And there is hope of improvement. I am afraid it is no different from the Lord of the universe. Because he himself represents death. As long as Jian Wushuang is swallowed, the fusion of death and life may reach a new level, beyond the existence of the 9 tribulations realm. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang shook his head vigorously. Will never be able to. If this were the case, it would not be the time and space of the primitive universe that would be finished. When the time comes, everyone will die. The power of extinction is a disaster in the starry sky. He must figure out where these 2 emperors obtain the power of death, otherwise he would be uncomfortable in this ancient moon time and space. On the day of goodbye, Xiexing found him again, but there was nowhere to hide. You must know that he came to Guyue time and space because of avoiding extinction. Elder Mu Qin, what will your majesty do with these 2 people? Jian Wushuang tentatively asked. Elder Mu Qin sighed and said, they were all the arrogances in the eternal realm. They are all Tianjiao in the eternal realm. It is impossible to deal with them. The overall strength of the eternal realm is much stronger than that of the Yu country. Your majesty will not offend them at this time. Eternal kingdom. Jian Wushuang nodded. That is the eternal kingdom comparable to the stone country, and the strong of the eternal clan are notorious lunatics. Although the 2 emperors are not members of the eternal race, they are the core disciples of the eternal kingdom, and they are also Tianjiao. The seizure cannot be too long, otherwise it will cause the other party's suspicion. In the past few days, I am afraid it will be released. Empress Fengchen, but to go for the position of the saint, when the time comes, cooperation with the eternal kingdom is indispensable. If you offend this time, maybe she will wear small shoes. Although there is no suitable candidate for the saint in the eternal kingdom, it can also hinder the situation. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5697. If the other party fully supports the female emperor, he will also fall to one side. There is still a sense of measure in this country. If that's the case, let's talk about it later. Jian Wushuang said on the surface, but he didn't give up in his heart. Instead, he told Elder Mu Qin that he must notify him before the other party leaves Yu Kingdom. Mu Qin listened to his flicker and thought he was going to explore the outland with these 2 people, so he didn't think much about it, so he sent Jian Wushuang away. When he returned to the Wu family mansion, Jian Wushuang did not feel Wu Li's breath and was a little surprised. Went back to the house alone for a while, a familiar breath reappeared, and he was quickly found. Brother Wushuang, I came back so soon. Mu Qin is really 2, there is nothing I can't say at Wu family mansion. Wu Li walked into the house, but his expression was a little gloomy, and then said, I still didn't take me. Be yourself. Jian Wushuang smiled helplessly. Brother Wu Li, you have made a lot of money this time. Don't get cheap and sell well. Be careful if Mu Qin finds out, I will put you on some small shoes. Hi, here are you and me, how would he know? Wu Li looked at Jian Wushuang meaningfully, as if to say that the 2 of them are the same people on the same boat. But if he understands Jian Wushuang, he went straight to the subject and said, this time it is indeed a small profit. The token can be sold for at least this amount, but the people who find it also need unconditional help from the country, so this price a lot lower, or you can sell higher. 300 million. Jian Wushuang was speechless. This is still cheaper. If it is bought out directly, it may soar to 1 billion. 300 million universe crystals. Jian Wushuang finally got 200 million. He never expected Wu Li to be so generous. Originally thought it would be evenly divided, but didn't expect to give him 200 million directly. The 2 billion cosmic crystals were his biggest receipt when he came to Guyu Time and Space. A full 200 million cosmic crystals. If it is in the Temple of Qishan, I don't know how long it will take to get it. However, the treasures he obtained in the Temple of Qishan were not calculable by the universe crystal, such as the bones of beast soldiers and Dongjun. These two treasures are not calculable with the universe crystal. Is placed in Guyu Time and Space and is also the top treasure. Beast God Weapon is the most precious treasure of the Seven Tribulations realm, which was made by the God of God. The 9 great beasts are the pinnacle of the entire Morua Time and Space. Jian Wushuang got only one of the candle dragons. There are 8 more, and they haven't been found yet. Dongkun's skeleton. The lowest is the skeleton of the Seven Tribulations realm, even stronger. Guyu Time and Space, the Seven Tribulations realm is not uncommon, and there have been several in the history of Yu Kingdom alone. But in today's era, there is not a single master of the universe in the Seven Tribulations realm. There is not even a master of the universe in the Six Tribulations realm. The most powerful master of the universe today is the female emperor of Yu Kingdom. As for Sanjie, I won't talk about it. There is too much loss of vitality, and it can't be compared with Dongjun's skeleton. If Dongjun's skeleton were to be taken out, I am afraid the movement caused would be even more terrifying than the Seven Tribulations supreme treasure. After all, there are many treasures in the Seven Tribulations realm. There are not many bones of the Lord of the Seven Tribulations realm universe. Most of them just got a piece of bone and held it as a treasure. In addition to these 2 treasures, Jian Wushuang has even more powerful treasures. Guantian chessboard, the treasure of time and space left to him by Mr. Xuanyi. There were not a few pieces of Moro in time and space. There should be one thing for the god of Qi, as well as extinction, and he also has it. The gods were shattered at the beginning, and the gods got the treasure of time and space. As for the extinction, it is estimated that they got it a long time ago. In the end, it is the Guantian chessboard of the first true king, which is the treasure of time and space left by the original layout of Master Xian. After Jian Wushuang got it, he hasn't really opened it yet. The chess record left by the first true king is useless, and can only copy the origin of it. Jian Wushuang hasn't understood the intention until now. Some of the most extreme levels of origin are of no use to him, and when the opponent is extinct, it consumes a lot, and he swallows the rest. Now I copy some universe origins in the 3 Tribulations realm. Said it was a copy, but in fact it was slowly devouring it. These origins currently serve 2 purposes. One is to swallow directly, and the other is to inject vitality and manipulate chess pieces. After arriving at the Emperor, he can manipulate the chess pieces of the absolute top and swallow the origin of the universe. If he becomes a robbery realm, he will be able to manipulate stronger chess pieces, such as those chess pieces that have the font size. Each one is the origin of the strong man above the 3 Tribulations realm. If he injects vitality to restore strength, it will be a big help for him. As for the handsome chess pieces, he can't even copy them. Not to mention manipulation. I am afraid that those chess pieces are the origin of the universe above the 7 Tribulations realm. Finally, there are chess pieces of God size. That is the most powerful source, and the power of time and space above it is also more concentrated. Unfortunately, Jian Wushuang now can only watch. Still have to quickly improve the origin. Light up a whole universe as soon as possible. In this way, when he becomes the Tribulation realm, he can leap into the 3 Tribulations realm and even the peak of the 3 Tribulation realm. Directly creates a universe. This is much stronger than the masters of the universe who refine the universe. Because of this, his dojo is different. The universe crystal sent by Wu Li can speed up his cultivation. There are also the treasures sent by the elder Mu Chen, but they are not polite. Accept them together, and let Wu Li help him exchange them for the source treasures. Wu Li was a little surprised, but didn't think much. He knows that Jian Wushuang's divine power is very special. I am afraid that he has reached the peak of the emperor, and now he wants to cultivate his origin. Pave the way for the future to become a robbery. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Jian Wushuang proposed to go out and turn around. He also had some cosmic crystals in his hand, and he went to other countries to buy some treasures that suit him in order to prepare for the holy meeting in the future. Do you need me to be with you? Wu Li said politely. Jian Wushuang shook his head and replied, No need, just buy some treasures. Anyway, there are still 3 years away from entering the royal family. He went out to purchase a batch of treasures for cultivation, and it was normal. Wu Li is just to be polite, he still has very important things to do. Did not ask much. Then the two returned to practice. Jian Wushuang didn't dare to delay a moment, he had improved very little in these 10,000 years. The matter of the sacred meeting, he thought it would take a long time, but he didn't expect it to be so fast. Now can only rely on the flow of time to practice. A few days outside, for Jian Wushuang, it is a few years. A few days later, Jian Wushuang received news from Elder Mu Chen. The 2 emperors have come out of the palace. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes and left the Wu family mansion very low-key. Wu Li felt it as soon as he left. Found that he was walking very low-key, thinking carefully, he went to buy treasures, but it was normal. Chapter 5698. In the dark secret room, when Jian Wushuang left the Wu family mansion, Wu Li also returned to the Wu family Jian tomb through the teleportation array. Both of them have secret things to do, and no one has delayed anyone. It's just the matter of Jian Wushuang, it has nothing to do with the Shenghui. After leaving the Wu family mansion, Jian Wushuang's appearance changed a little. He locked the 2 emperors through his mind and quietly followed. The more the king is outside. On a battleship, the 2 emperors left the capital and did not deliberately fly. Instead, they took out a huge battleship and prepared to leave on the battleship. This made Jian Wushuang very surprised. Both of them were previously detained by the Yu state, and now they don't want to hurry away, and they still take the warships so leisurely. There must be demons if something goes wrong. Jian Wushuang became more careful, his flesh body incarnate particles, adsorbed on the battleship through the void. This battleship is a supreme eternal treasure, and its power is not strong. Jian Wushuang directly used his thought power to wrap the entire battleship. Every move on was clearly seen by him. In addition to the 2 emperors, there are still many maids on the battleship. Apparently, she was still an alien handmaid. These 2 people will enjoy it. Is bathing in the cabin now. Jian Wushuang had no interest in peeking at others to take a bath. After Nianli searched the entire battleship, he lurked down and waited for the 2 to act. Also watched the chat between the 2. N.I. Kuan, are you sure that Jian Wushuang has the kind of power that Lord Bobby said? Song Biao, when did I lie to you? I am too familiar with that power. Back then, Lord Bobby D injected that power into my body, and my strength will skyrocket. What Nikuan and Song Biao said made Jian Wushuang frown slightly. Bobby D, he seems to have never heard of it. But judging from the respectful appearance of the 2, they should be super strong in the robbery realm. Is at least the Lord of the Universe above the 4 tribulations realm. Otherwise, it is impossible for these 2 to be so respectful. Just say the name, always carry the word adult. Listening to what they said, the power in these 2 people really did not belong to them, but came from the Lord Bobby. And also feel the familiar breath from him. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned, and he secretly guessed in his heart, could it be the force of life? Probably. But the power in these 2 people is the power of death. This is very strange. Was also full of curiosity about the Lord Bobby. At least the other party knows the existence of the power of death and the power of life. Is not easy. Jian Wushuang held down and continued to monitor. If luck is good, these 2 people may go to the Lord Bobby. After all, he was discovered by these 2 people because of the power of life in his body. Maybe they would tell the strong man named Bobby D. After N.I. Kuan took a shower, he casually put on a loose robe and then went to the guest room to relax. Song Biao seems to have no such thoughts, just waiting outside the door. Almost a stick of incense, Ni Kun walked out of the room. As for the alien girl in the room, there is only one skeleton left. Pink Skull, this is what I'm talking about. Your time is getting shorter and shorter. Song Biao mocked. Ni Kun didn't care, found a place and sat down directly, waved to let the alien girls go down, and went straight to the subject and said, Jian Wushuang's strength is too strong, and now he is the son-in-law of the king of you, it doesn't move him. Jia, we only need to inform Lord Bobby D of this news, and it will definitely give us a lot of power at that time. Sang Biao said indifferently. The two of them were originally ordinary children in the family, but since they met the Lord Bobby, their strength suddenly skyrocketed. Became the arrogant of the family. The treasures given by the family still can't satisfy these two people. They can only rely on the Lord Bobby. Especially, when they discovered that there was such a powerful emperor in the same rank, they were even more greedy and wanted to become stronger. Then go back to the family to prepare, and then go to see Lord Bobby. No problem. After taking their attention, the two began to practice separately. Jian Wushuang was also very curious about these two people's cultivation. When they fully entered the cultivation, their divine power had already slightly transformed. There is death in the divine power. These two big fools don't even know if they are being used. If you continue to practice, you must explode and die. The warship flew all the way and soon left the country. To go to the Eternal Kingdom, you need to traverse 2 kingdoms. It takes about a month, but Jian Wushuang doesn't panic. If he hurried with all his strength, he would be able to return to Yu Kingdom in 3 days. There is plenty of time. Just one thing, when these two people went to visit the Lord Bobby, would he follow him? If he is found out, he will be done. If you don't follow, you can only control these two people first, and then perform a soul search. Ku Jian Wushuang's instinct told him that searching for souls is useless. These two people know too little. Can only take a risk once. If the opponent's strength exceeds the 5 tribulations realm, it is hard not to be discovered. If it is lower than the 5 tribulations realm, there is still some hope. When the time comes, he must let a clone go forward, not let the deity take risks. Once the clone is killed, the deity needs to escape with all its strength. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang's deity began to leave with a lot of treasures. Before the battleship entered the Eternal Kingdom, Jian Wushuang's deity stayed in Sualua, which was bordered by the Yu Kingdom and the Eternal Kingdom. His clone is actually not much different from the deity. The only thing worse is the power of the beast god. The beast weapon is on the deity, and the clone cannot use the power of the beast god. But he still has the power of the stars. Before leaving the clone, he injected all the power of the starry sky into the body. Can maintain a peak state for 1 hour. But it cannot be added later. There is only 1 hour of time. Time has passed, then his clone will only have 100,000 times the basic divine power, which is the same as the ordinary calamity realm. Can't even threaten the air. At that time, Jian Wushuang would also give up on his own initiative. Jian Wushuang's deity turned into a green grass and fell on the green grassland, trampled by wolves at will, just like ordinary grass, extremely tough. The clone has entered the eternal realm. At the moment he entered the Eternal Kingdom, Jian Wushuang felt a powerful blood force. That is the breath of the eternal race. This is a very mysterious ethnic group. Is a branch of the human race, belonging to the acquired mutant. The ancestor who opened up the Eternal Kingdom is a half-step and 8 tribulation realm. I am afraid that I have fallen asleep without falling. The ancestor created the eternal family, which has been reproducing since the time of the fall of the goddess, and it is still very prosperous. I heard that the contemporary emperor of the Eternal Kingdom is the Lord of the Universe in the 6 tribulations realm. Chapter 5699 is very famous in Gumu continent, comparable to Shirshio. The strength and weakness of the Eternal Clan are all related to blood. The contemporary emperor has awakened the pinnacle bloodline of the eternal race, from the emperor to become the master of the universe of the 5 tribulations, and then stabilized his strength again and stepped into the 6 tribulations. is only slightly weaker than that ancestor. Jian Wushuang also knows the special eternal race from some messages. The eternal race, since the ancestor opened it up, the Lord of the Six Tribulations realm universe has been born, countless. But in the Seven Tribulations realm, there is only one ancestor. If it's an ordinary family power, it's normal. But the Six Tribulations realm where the eternal clan was born is no less than 100, and there is no second Seven Tribulations realm. It seems that the malpractice of the eternal family is related to the ancestor. Jian Wushuang guessed in his heart. The ancestor of the eternal race, if it is a great power in the Eight Tribulations realm, I am afraid that there will be a large number of Seven Tribulations in Hui. If it reaches the Nine Tribulations realm, Jian Wushuang couldn't believe it. The eternal race is indeed very special and very powerful. He also admired the ancestor of the eternal race even more. It's a pity that after becoming the dispersed tribulation realm, the ancestor himself could not improve his strength, and Ho-I could not break through the cage. Why is this again? Admire and admire, but he couldn't understand why the ancestor cared so much about the younger generation. If the blood connection of the eternal race is cut off, I am afraid that the ancestor will never stop in the half-step Eight Tribulation realm. Not right. Maybe without the blood of Hui erupting, that ancestor may not be able to achieve half a step in the Eight Tribulations realm. Jian Wushuang seemed to understand. Complement each other, how could it be what he thought? This time coming to the Eternal Kingdom, anyway, it was not for the Eternal family, so he didn't think much about it. The family of Songbiao and Nikuan belonged to the subsidiary power of the Eternal family, and there was no family power at all. In the Eternal Kingdom, the eternal race is the sky. There is no master of the universe of the Seven Tribulations realm, but the master of the universe of the Six Tribulations realm, but a large number of them have been born. Almost every eternal race has the Lord of the universe of the Six Tribulations realm, has a profound background, so in the Eternal Kingdom, there is no power that can compete with the eternal race. Most of those seven-star sects were already dilapidated, and they couldn't hold it back at all by relying on the Lord of the Universe in the Five Tribulations realm. In the Eternal Kingdom, there is no right to speak. Therefore, many Tianjiao of the affiliated forces will enter the palace of King Zong opened up by the Eternal Realm. Cultivating together with Tianjiao of the Eternal Clan, the status is also based on the strength, and it is completely fair, regardless of origin. This is pretty good. If it is an ordinary country, the royal family must be superior. Just like the Yu Kingdom, Wu Li has been complaining about it, which may also be related to the system of the Eternal Kingdom. Not good. Song Biao directly sat up in the battleship, his expression gloomy. When Jian Wushuang heard this, he thought the other party had spotted him, and he was ready to take action the next moment. What's the matter? Ni Kuan also got up. Seeing Sang Biao's gaffe, he understood the importance of the matter, and immediately asked. The divine power in his body also exploded at the same time. Song Biao said with a sullen face, resenting, "We are wanted by people. They are from the Gumu faction. They have already arrived in the capital. The family member just sent me a message. Let us both run to the outer domain." Wanted? How is it possible? The two of us didn't seem to offend the Gumo faction. Ni Kuan was taken aback. He thought about it carefully, and he didn't figure out why he was wanted by the Gumo faction. And it seems that the family and the Eternal family are about to give up both of them. Otherwise, they won't let them run away. If it is an ordinary little thing, there will be the eternal race to help them settle it. Is his own after all. If he is taken away by the Gumo faction, how will he be mixed up in the future? The Eternal Kingdom, that is also the top 3 superpowers, ordinary trivial things, the Gu-Mu sect will never offend the Eternal Kingdom for their 2 emperors. This time, they must have done something unforgivable. Otherwise, they won't be allowed to run directly to Outland. Isn't this to disassociate themselves from them? It must be the female emperor of the Yu Kingdom. Ni Kuan quickly figured out and then said, "She is really vicious and doesn't want to offend the Eternal Kingdom. She turned around and sold the 2 of us to the Gu-Mu faction." Song Biao nodded. Both of them knew the special power of death. That is absolutely forbidden. It would be okay if the treasure contaminated with the power of death was used, but the two of them used the power of death. And the two of them are only emperors, and they must feel that there is someone behind them. That's why I came to investigate. The eternal race knew this was the reason, so they abandoned them. Jian Wushuang also understood. I feel a little regretful. If these two people really run to Outland, he will have to give up tracking and prepare to shoot directly. Now he is not in a hurry. The so-called authorities are fans and bystanders clear. These two are dying, and they haven't seen the situation clearly. Since the involvement is so large, the Eternal Clan might be utterly distracted in order to separate the relationship. It's just a guise to let them run to the Outland. When they get to the Outland, it is true that they will be killed directly. In this way, I am afraid that the Eternal Clan also has a certain connection with that Bobby D. Unknowingly, Jian Wushuang has fallen into another game of chess. Now he is still a chess watcher. It depends on how he wants to make a move. Jian Wushuang's thoughts spread in a wide range, and he has been on guard, really making his guess right. Sure enough, a powerful man from the Three Tribulations realm rushed towards this side, and it seemed that he had come to kill his mouth. A black robe is wrapped tightly, and the breath on his body is also hidden by some kind of treasure. The two inside the battleship are still arguing stupidly. I am running straight now, or go to seek refuge with Lord Bobby. Jian Wushuang is thinking about the next step. Once involved, is a tripartite force. The Gumu faction who vows to destroy the power of death. The Eternal Family who hides the power of death. Finally, there is the Bobby D who can manipulate the power of death. The first two are in the light, while the latter is in the dark. If Jian Wushuang was inserted in, it would be bright and dark. The choice is up to him. Once the Black Robe powerhouse comes, these two will die. When all the dust settles, he will also lose all the news about Bobby D. Can only disperse the clones and return to Vietnam in a dingy manner. If they rescued these two people, they would then be designed to take them to find Bobby D, while leaving some clues to attract people from the Ancient Wood School. Take advantage of strength. This might be more perfect. War. Jian Wushuang had war intent in his eyes. He was going to see who the Bobby Emperor was, and whether it had anything to do with extinction. Relying on the clone on the battleship, directly escaped and landed on the land. Chapter 5700, just sinking, the battleship has disappeared into the sky. But the traces left on the top will not disappear. Jian Wushuang is not in a hurry. After a short while, a frightening atmosphere flew above the head easily. Is the strong black robe. Three Tribulation Realm powerhouse. Is not the Lord of the Universe, nor is it a member of the Eternal Race. Is probably a dead man raised by the Eternal Clan. This kind of thing still needs a clean person to do it. The black-robed old man just caught up. Jian Wushuang leaned over with his heel. The plan has just begun. Since Jian Wushuang wants to enter the game, he has to stand his temper. Until the critical moment, never make a move. The distance between the black-robed old man and the battleship is getting closer and closer, and the two people inside the battleship also discovered something wrong at this time, and felt a sense of horror. When wanted to avoid, it was too late. A huge black air column soared into the sky, directly piercing the battleship through. Who is it? The two flew out at the same time, all in a panic. When they saw the black-robed old man, their eyelids jumped wildly. The powerhouse of the Three Tribulation Realm. Although he is not the Lord of the Universe, it is just a robbery, but it is not something that the two of them can deal with. Is just an emperor after all. The powerhouse of the Three Tribulations Realm, but has a divine power of 200,000. Senior, why did you sneak attack on us? Sang Biao still didn't want to give up at this time, and wanted to delay time. Transmitted the sound to the family. Can now ask for help just like death. Both the family and the Eternal Family gave them up. Abandoned child, can't live. You just need to die with peace of mind. The black-robe old man didn't talk nonsense, and directly attacked the killer. 200,000 supernatural powers, all erupted, and directly killed Song Biao and Ni Kuan. Go! Ni Kuan yelled, and the power of death on his body climbed again. Can face a strong man in the three tribulations realm, and they have gone away. The black-robed strong man shook his hand with one hand, and a huge wave of energy was thrown out of the palm of his hand, which was as dazzling as the sun and swallowed the two directly. This air wave contains 200,000 divine powers. How can it be blocked by two emperors? Am not reconciled. Ni Kun frantically resisted, but it didn't have any effect. Song Biao began to beg for mercy and said everything about Bobby D. The black-robed strong man was unmoved. He used his hand again, trying to kill both of them directly. At the critical time, a black mist suddenly rose. Jian Wushuang with black flames all over his body attacked from the rear, and his breath had been transformed into the power of death. This power of death is not pure. It is he extracted from the power of all things. Is covered on the power of the starry sky, and most people cannot see it. This is to trick Ni Kun and Song Biao into preparations. This seat, by the order of Lord Bobby, come to rescue you too. Jian Wushuang even changed his voice, picked it up and opened the space, freeing the two people in the air wave. The two people who were already desperate, now that they were rescued, how dare they think too much and nod their heads frantically. At this moment, where Jian Wushuang let them go, they had no objection. The black robe expert frowned when he saw Jian Wushuang. He is just a dead man in the Eternal Kingdom, and the inside story may not be known as much as Song Biao and others know. Jian Wushuang would not understand him at all. Thank you, Senior, for your help. After Ni Kun's breath recovered, he quickly bowed and thanked him. Especially when I heard that Jian Wushuang was on the order of Lord Bobby D, my heart was even more grateful. You first go to Lord Bobby. This person will be handed over to me. Jian Wu's double-faced color was cold, and he directly informed the two in a commanding tone. Song Biao and Ni Kun were stunned for a moment, then they turned around and fled. The black-robe powerhouse wanted to stop, but was defended by Jian Wushuang. This fellow Taoist, why bother to shoot at the two little guys? Why not play with me? Jian Wushuang moved his wrist. The black-robed strong man had a calm complexion. First, the Eternal Clan was informed by the sound transmission, and then he said, "You shouldn't stop me." "Huh, are you?" Jian Wushuang leaked a smile, looked down at the mundane city underneath, and said, "How about changing to a place with no one?" "No need." The strong black robe clenched his fists violently, his aura rose again, his arms spread out, and the nearby hundreds of millions of miles instantly turned into coke. The next moment he quietly shot and went straight to Jian Wushuang. 200,000 supernatural powers burst out with all their strength. A murder is to pay for your life. Jian Wushuang set his posture, and when the black robe powerhouse rushed in, the surrounding space was instantly shattered, and his figure disappeared in place. The old man in black robe is very experienced. At the moment he disappeared, he had already captured his breath, reached the footing position of Jian Wushuang ahead of time, and directly hit Jian Wushuang's younger generation with a palm. The inner armor of the eternal treasure on shattered directly. The treasures he carries with him are all eternal treasures. Can fight against the powerhouse at the level of the robbery, the eternal treasure, it is not enough to see. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang is a superpower who relies purely on strength. After eating a boring loss, he understood that he still needs to use some strength if he wants to drag the opponent. The key to this battle is not only to stop the opponent, but also to make a large enough movement. Let the people of the ancient wood school notice. Those people now should be in the Eternal Kingdom. As long as a strong enough breath erupts, it can attract the other party's attention. Although the comprehensive strength of the Eternal Kingdom is very strong. But the strong are also very limited. For example, fighting at the four tribulations realm level is enough to cause a sensation in the entire Eternal Kingdom. The superpowers of the five tribulations realm rarely take action in the ancient wood continent. Is usually when going to the outer domain to make a move. Otherwise, the ancient wood continent would have been shattered long ago. These top powerhouses also have a tacit understanding. If you can't do it in ancient wood continent, you won't do it in ancient wood continent. Therefore, the top powerhouses in the Five Tribulations realm would generally not make moves in the ancient Wood continent. 9 days and 10 places, there are already some lessons learned. The continents destroyed by the power of death, but of vigilance. Destroying another continent would be a great burden on Guyu time and space. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists with both hands, his eyebrows flickered, and he shouted angrily, "Ah!" The breath of the whole body began to skyrocket. Sang Biao and Enai Kun have already left, and he has nothing to hide. Directly burst out the power of the starry sky. Although he is a clone, his combat power can now approach the peak of the Three Tribulations realm. And he is also the Lord of the universe. Is not comparable to these wastes in the scattered tribulation realm. The power of the starry sky burst out, and a gust of wind blew, and the black-robed old man who was blowing was a little unstable. Stared at Jian Wushuang in surprise, and was even more curious. When did the Eternal Kingdom appear such a strong man? He had never heard of it. Chapter 5701. Are you in the Four Tribulations realm? The black-robe elder dared not say anything. He could see that Jian Wushuang had no universe, but he could explode so much stronger aura than him. This shows that the other party may be a powerhouse in the Four Tribulations realm. Only this is possible. He would never think that Jian Wushuang was an emperor, so he didn't master the universe. Surrounded by a blue arc, Jian Wushuang stretched out a finger. If it weren't for me to have something important, you wouldn't deserve to let me use my full strength. This is not to frighten the other party. He can explode 200,000 divine powers by relying on the power of the beast under normal conditions, plus the strong vitality, sling a Three Tribulations realm with ease. It's a pity that he is now a clone. And also thinking of attracting the strong from the Guma faction, that's why it will explode in full strength. Go to hell! Jian Wushuang gathered qi with one hand, and a blue divine sword appeared in his hand, and the power of killing flooded the sky. The black-robed powerhouse stared his eyes wide, and at this moment he saw the origin of Jian Wushuang. 6,000 black holes and a cosmic mystery are shining brightly. The original power beyond his imagination instantly attacked and killed. In the ancient moon time and space dominated by divine power, 1,000 black holes are the masters of the universe. In other words, Jian Wushuang's original background is 6 times that of the Lord of the ordinary universe. Of course, this is not considered combat power. His origin is 6 times that of the masters of ordinary universes, but his divine power is much worse. After all, the opponent is dominated by divine power. The origin is only to improve the realm. Divine power is the main thing, and it is about power to break the 10,000 laws. Unfortunately, no one can do it. Even Jian Wushuang didn't believe this. The black-robed powerhouse passed Jian Wushuang's message to the Eternal Clan before he fell. The Lord of the Universe in the Four Tribulations realm. Hearing this news, the strong of the eternal race was very surprised. Regardless of why a cosmic master of the Four Tribulations realm suddenly appeared, just talk about the identity of the other party. A strong one sent by Bobby D? In the ancient hall, a master of the Five Tribulations realm universe was furious. His hand stretched too long. Obviously, I really believed it. In fact, there are not many connections between the Eternal Clan and Bobby D. The two are not a cooperative relationship, nor a relationship between superiors and subordinates. More like the same kind. Originally wanted to help. But after discovering that the other party not only didn't appreciate them, but also complained about them, he stopped paying attention. If Jian Wushuang knew, I'm afraid he would laugh out loud. He was originally worried that the Eternal Clan would notify Bobby D. It now appears that the two have nothing to do with each other. Master, what to do next? Outside the ancient hall stood an old servant in black robe, who was a powerful saboteur in the Five Tribulations realm. The Lord of the Universe in the main hall pondered for a moment, and then said coldly, "Let the people of the ancient wood school go in, just to teach Bobby D some lessons. Let him understand that this is the eternal kingdom, not the filthy outside world." Yes. The black-robe old servant respectfully took his orders. On the other side, the strong man of the Gumu school was restless at a banquet. They were here to find clues to the power of death, but they were forced to drink by a four-tribulation realm universe lord of the eternal clan. But this face has to be given. After all, it's the opponent's chassis. As the saying goes, a strong dragon does not crush a snake. What's more, the other party also promised to help them to find out the news, and they were too cold to leave. Can only wait. But the banquet also has an end. They don't believe it, it will continue forever. Brother Qingnon, I just received news that the two people you want to find are in the rioting Shanghai in your country. Hearing this, the man in the green shirt suddenly revealed his joy. He thought it was the eternal kingdom to make things difficult for them, but he didn't expect to let them find it. In that case, I won't be bothering here. Taoist Qington clasped his fists slightly and greeted everyone to prepare for departure. Brother Qingtian is too polite. Are you a guest? If you need help, please tell me at any time. Must. Taoist Qingtian didn't dare to delay, and left directly with others. He himself is the master of the universe in the Four Tribulations realm, with 2 masters of the Four Tribulations realm and 4 masters of the universe in the Three Tribulations realm. The 4 masters of the universe in the Three Tribulations realm were all newly promoted Tianjios of the Gumu sect. The 2 robbers of the Four Tribulations realm possessed a divine power of over 300,000. As for his own combat power, it is even more terrifying. The pinnacle of the Four Tribulations realm, the master of the universe, and a superpower who is not far from the Five Tribulations realm, his divine power has reached an incredible level. His breath envelopes everyone, the speed is extremely fast, and it only takes an hour to reach the rioting Sea of Stars. That is the only unstable region in the Eternal Kingdom. Wild beasts are rampant, and demons are repaired everywhere. But for them, these are not obstacles. On the other side, after Jian Wushuang destroyed the black-robed dead soldier, he found the aura left on the bodies of the 2 Songbiao, and followed all the way. The speed of the 2 was not slow. Jian Wushuang could only fly slowly in order not to waste the power of the starry sky. While he was chasing, he was also leaving some breath on his body so that the strong guys of the Gumu faction could follow. Soon he felt the breath of the 2 Songbiao. Has entered the riot Sea of Stars. Even here, Jian Wushuang's expression changed slightly when he felt the chaotic atmosphere in the riot Star Sea, and he also understood why Emperor Bobby was hiding here. It is too difficult to find the breath of practitioners here. Fortunately, the aura left by Jian Wushuang was very special. It was the power of the stars. Others couldn't detect it at all, only he could feel the breath. Otherwise you will be lost. I don't know, did the Gumu sect people keep up? Jian Wushuang was still worried about the Gumu sect at this time. He was afraid that these people would be too stupid. In case he couldn't keep up, even if he found Bobby D, he would not be able to solve the opponent, let alone find the source of the power of death from the opponent. So he needs external force. The Qingtian Taoist of the Gumu sect, but Zhao Jian Wushuang entered the Riot Star Sea in one step. But the atmosphere here is messy, they search around like headless flies. There is the breath of the Emperor. Taoist Qingtan stopped on a huge reef, and he felt a breath from the Emperor. He raised his brows and greeted everyone to surround him, so as not to let the other party run away again. Jian Wushuang had been keeping a distance from the 2 Songbiao, so he flew very slowly. At this moment, I also felt that there were several auras coming, and I understood it instantly. This time he was careless, and did not hide himself in order to leave clues to the Gumu sect. As a result, the Gumu sect came too quickly. Surrounded him. Boy, you'd better not resist. A master of the universe of the Three Tribulations realm of the Gumu sect discovered that Jian Wushuang was just a slightly stronger emperor, and he was very relaxed and without any defense, he just went to grab the sword. Wushuang, you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.